Warning, the following Texas high school football game is not for the faint of heart.
It is touchdown time in Texas, and we have a tie ball game.
Please take all necessary precautions.
Splits out it again, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. It's touchdown time in Texas. What an incredible run by Darren Alves. 5-6, and he's incredible. It is touchdown time in Texas for the first ever time for McKinney Boyd, and it's A.J. Jones and a 1-yard touchdown run.
McKinney ISD football is on 97.5 KLAK.
And is brought to you by American Bank,
Chick-fil-A,
Choplin's Compressor Service,
Tutoring Club,
El Dorado Motors,
Texas Star Bank,
McKinney Foot Clinic,
by Pat Loeb Toyota,
Deb Tunney Farmers Insurance,
Medical Center of McKinney,
Encore Wire,
the Mike Kryes Agency,
Pinnacle Pain Center,
by Applebee's, and
by Torchmark UAI.
Now get ready, because it's touchdown time in Texas.
On 97.5 KLAK.
Here's the voice of McKinney ISD football, Monty Walker.
1986 was the last time a McKinney team played past November the 30th. That was the McKinney Lions, and they went to the final dance. Tonight, it's the quarterfinal matchup in Class 4A Division I between the McKinney Boyd Broncos at 9-3 and the 10-2 Copperas Cove Bulldogs. Copperas Cove, the Division I state runner-up last year. McKinney Boyd was 0-10 last year. Obviously a different team, however, this year. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Floyd Casey Stadium at Baylor in Waco. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Jay Lindley, John Leidy, Rob Johnson, and the rest of the gang. Brandon, why is this team so much different this year?
Well, you first glance on it paper, it's quite obvious, Darren Alves. I mean, what he's done as a sophomore quarterback is nothing short of just amazing. He's passed for 1,000 yards this year, which, that's pretty pedestrian, 9 touchdowns, not too bad. But you look at what he does, it's not through the air. It's quite simply, it's with his legs. He's almost at 2,500 yards this year with 30 touchdowns. I mean, that's a career for a lot of people. It's, to be exact, 2,417 yards and 30 touchdowns. But you take Alves out of this, and this is still a really good team.
Well, granted, the offense fuels the defense, and it is about this Bronco defense. What a turnaround. Now, coming into tonight, they're giving up 325 yards per game. But get this, guys. They're only giving up 26.4 points a game. Last year, this defense gave up 42 points a game. That's a 16-point turnaround, not to mention the turnover ratio. Right now, Boyd Bronco defense setting at a +6. They have picked off 17 passes as well as recovered 13 fumbles on the season. 30. That's right. They have created 30 turnovers this season, and that is really remarkable for a defense that a year ago was getting just stomped, giving up 42 points a game. To turn it around in a year like that, and again, I think the offense fuels the defense, but the defense last week really came through for this team, creating 6 turnovers, 4 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and of course the Bronco offense able to take advantage. 14 of their 21 points came off of 2 of those 6 turnovers.
Brandon? Yeah, and I'm sure you would agree with me on this one, Monty. You hear that 42 points given up last year, and you think, is that it? I mean, there were games that given up 60 points, and I hate to say this because obviously they're the hometown team, but you look, we got Boyd today. And you knew it was going to be that kind of game, and it started out this year right up until we saw 19, and then we see guys like Cameron Mazur on the defensive end just doing a fantastic job.
A McKinney team has never played Copperas Cove before. However, a McKinney team has played here at Floyd Casey Stadium. Matter of fact, it wasn't even Floyd Casey Stadium back then here at Baylor. It was Baylor Stadium, and that was the McKinney Lions. They lost the state title game to Bridge City here back in 1966, 30-6. And on this date in MISD history, November the 30th, 1979, the Lions beat Mount Pleasant 26-14 at Mesquite Memorial. In 1973, the Lions lost to Mount Pleasant 33-13 at Luce Stadium in Dallas. In 1962, the Lions beat L.D. Bell 18-7 at Fouts Field. In 1939, the Lions beat Highland Park 3-0 in Dallas. In 1933, the Lions lost to overall, it goes back to 1906. McKinney ISD has played 7 games on November the 30th, and they are 5-2, hoping to be 6-2 after this one's over.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can take of that for tonight's game, but it really shows you the history of the ISD, especially when you think, well, this is a booming suburb. You've got 2 schools less than a decade old. But the plain fact of the matter is there's history, and then really that's the fun thing. And the fun thing about it, we're watching history being made right now.
The overall playoff record for McKinney ISD is 28-23-3. That being the Lions at 25-21-3. Of course, McKinney North 1-2 in the playoffs, and McKinney Boyd at 2-0. We're going to check down on the sidelines here in just a moment and see if we can get an update from John Leidy down there, who can probably tell us a little bit more.
I've done a little bit of research tonight. We're down here at Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, Texas, home of the Baylor Bears. This year marks the 58th year that Baylor has been playing football here at Floyd Casey Stadium. The funding for the stadium was raised by Baylor Stadium Corporation following World War II. And the Baylor Bears played their first game here on September 30th, 1950. That game was actually a win, a 34-7 victory over the Houston Cougars. That's ironic because 2 days ago, the Baylor Bears hired Art Briles, the former Houston Cougars coach, to be their new football coach here. In 1989, the stadium's name was changed from Baylor Stadium to Floyd Casey Stadium. The stadium was upgraded to the new synthetic turf playing surface known as Prestige System in 2004. The stadium also has seen numerous improvements over the years. In 1999, the state-of-the-art luxury suite and press box was added. In 2002, a 23-foot by 31-foot LED video screen was placed in the southern end zone. The field conditions and weather conditions for tonight's game include a low of 60 degrees with a 20 to 30% chance of rain. I hope it doesn't rain because I didn't bring my rain suit this week. We're also going to see stiff winds coming out of the southeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. But down here on the field, you don't feel the wind because in the southern end zone, you got this big, huge screen that they put up here a couple years ago. That's actually blocking the wind, but if you look at the flags, the Baylor Bear flags that are located above the screen, they're blowing pretty stiff at the moment. I don't look to see that the wind's going to affect the passing game or the kicking game unless it may be on the punts if someone gets the ball up pretty high. But if you notice in the players on the field earlier, Copperas Cove is actually wearing a solid royal blue uniform, pants and jersey, along with the royal blue helmet. So it's kind of, you got the solid blue versus the solid white from McKinney Boyd. They're in their white uniforms, which they are 4-2 this year, which is actually the road uniforms. Boyd is the road team today. Something that most people would say, hey, 4-2 is not bad, but let's make it 5-2 tonight. Shake and bake, guys. Shake and bake.
All right, John, thank you very much. Shake and bake, huh? We might have a new nickname for
John brought up the fact that the Boyd Broncos are the visiting team tonight. Monty, you and I were talking on the way down here. Visiting here at Floyd Casey Stadium, not such a bad thing.
No, there's been a lot of celebrations in the visiting locker rooms over the years here at Baylor, especially in the past 10 years. So not a bad thing to be the visitors here at Baylor. We're going to take a timeout. We'll have the Senior Spotlight and the Coach Show coming up next. It's McKinney ISD Playoff Football on 97.5 KLAK. Well, it is playoff time in Texas, quarterfinals to be exact. And Copperas Cove making their way out on the field. McKinney Boyd Broncos have already run through their victory line. No tunnel tonight. We'll try to figure out where the tunnel is. John Leidy asking some people, maybe he can figure it out for us. Copperas Cove coming out of their tunnel, not sprinting, walking and carrying an American flag through that tunnel as they just take their time and walk very intimidatingly onto the field. And now they take off jogging, and now they'll run through their victory line, Brandon.
Well, that's one of the oddest things that I think I've seen in terms of the pre-game ritual. I don't know if it's something they always do, if it's something new for the playoffs, but I can already tell you there's going to be something about this game that is going to drain my power. Can you guess what it is just by listening?
Maybe the cowbells or thundersticks.
I hate cowbells.
More cowbell.
Not in a high school football game when I'm right above the crowd. It's just, I don't know, it just drives me nuts. The thing is, you got to like the spirit, obviously, because these fans are into it. You can just look how many people are here, first of all. Obviously, you can't back at home, but there's just quite a bit of people here, especially for Floyd Casey Stadium. The stands actually look like there's people there. And in the meantime, cowbells.
We got to see if John's got something for us down there about that run through.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have one thing that I've been put on a mission to find out, and that is Boyd did not actually have their inflatable helmet, and at the moment I'm stumped, and I'm still trying to investigate that. I'll get back with y'all in a little bit.
All right, thanks a lot, John. In the meantime, we're about to have our national anthem, and we'll pause. And let's take a timeout during the national anthem. We'll be right back on 97.5 KLAK. Big playoff crowd here at Floyd Casey Stadium at Baylor in Waco. As McKinney Boyd lost the toss, Copperas Cove won it. They elected to defer, so they will defend the south end zone. And McKinney Boyd will defend the north end zone. I believe John Leidy has something for us down there. John, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've actually discovered the mystery behind the missing inflatable head for the McKinney Boyd Broncos. Last week, during when they inflated it for the halftime, there was a gust of wind that came through, and actually it blew it over. And we noticed that actually during the halftime show, and said, "Oh, that's kind of a bad omen." Well, when it did that, it kind of, should I say, busted the seams out of the bottom of the helmet to where now it cannot be inflated. So that's something that's got to be repaired before next season. So they're without their magical helmet for the year. Back up to y'all.
Well, hopefully that won't take the air out of the sails of McKinney Boyd, just because their inflatable helmet was not able to make the trip. Now those things aren't very cheap. No. And that's brand new. It's brand new this year. They didn't have it last year.
Well, and I can tell you from a player's perspective, it means very, very little. I mean, they're here to play a football game, and they're not, it's kind of a fun thing, but really no more or less.
Joseph Robinson and A.J. Jones back to return this kick by Mitchell Roll, and it's going to be a high kick, going to bounce right at the front corner of the right end zone, and it'll go into the end zone for a touchback. That was very close to going out of bounds, but it'll be a touchback. And this game starts a little better than last week, where Joseph Robinson had the ball go off his hands into the end zone. It was nearly a safety. The officials called it a touchback. The officials for tonight's game, referee Mike Atkinson, the umpire Bill Stevens, the head linesman Bob Hubble, the line judge Vance Burnham, and the back judge is Mark Ashley. They're from the Houston chapter.
Well, and that's the same chapter that we had last week's game, and I think it was the quality of the officials were pretty high, so hopefully that trend will continue.
Right after this first down play, we'll give you the McKinney Boyd starting offense, as in the backfield along with A.J. Jones. Now they're moving left to right here, and Robinson will go in motion now from right to left, and that's Pittman actually in the backfield along with Alves. And looks like there's going to be a false start initially starting the game here, so it'll be 1st and 15 to start the game.
Not a false start to delay a game, and I can tell you exactly why it happened, Monty. I was doing the same thing. Where's the play clock? Normally they're right by the end zone. Here at Floyd Casey, they're right by the scoreboard, which is a little higher. And so I was trying to figure out, well, did it go to 0? And, I guarantee you Darren Alves probably close to the same thing.
1st and 15 here, and A.J. Jones goes in motion along with Pittman, so 2 men in the backfield. Alves is going to give the hand right up the middle, a big hole, up to the 25 and down at the 27-yard line. About an 8-yard gain on first down for Montarius Pittman. And here is your starting offense for McKinney Boyd.
Will Smalley, left tackle.
Michael Darby, left guard.
Rusty Walton, center.
Brenton Lee is right guard.
Brent Blake, right tackle.
Cameron Mason,
Boys.
tight end.
Joseph Robinson, slot receiver.
Montarius Pittman, slot receiver.
Grant Gibson,
Josh
wide
Boyce.
receiver.
Jeff Fuller, wide receiver.
Darren Alves, quarterback.
Second down and about 3 here, and Alves is going to run it up the middle to the left side, and not very much going there. He might have lost a yard, back to the 26-yard line. Stephen Welch on that stop. Josh Boyce on the first stop. It'll bring up 3rd down and 4 for McKinney Boyd at their own 26-yard line with 11:05 left to go in the first quarter, just underway here at Floyd Casey Stadium at Baylor in Waco, Texas. 2 receivers to the right for McKinney Boyd, 1 to the left. That's big, tall Jeff Fuller out, split out wide left. Alves will send A.J. Jones in motion, so 2 men in the backfield behind Alves. This is a different looking set than what we've seen. Alves is going to run to the right side. He's got the 25 up to the 30. being chased down and finally goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line, enough to move the sticks before Rashad Hardy, the junior safety, knocks him out of bounds.
You know, Boyd's just sticking with their basic offense that they've done all year. Nothing more, nothing less. You've got three guys in the backfield, and basically it is a quarterback option. Darren Alves will sit back there, wait for the hole to open, take that hole and run with it, and then when he gets a guy in the open field, that's where he does his magic.
Well, I think you're correct in saying that they are running the basic same offense, but they're giving a different look here, bringing two men in the backfield behind Alves. As they start off with a man in the backfield, as they haven't done so far this year. It's normally Alves back there, and if somebody comes in, they come in motion, and there's one in motion, and that's Robinson on the hand coming all the way across from the left slot, and that's going to be a loss back to the 30-yard line. Anthony Gonzalez was right there to track Robinson down and bring him back for a 4-yard loss to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, Monty, in the pregame, we were talking about what makes this team so different than last year, and obviously we said the Darren Alves thing on the offensive side. One of the other big reasons, this offensive line is massive, and they're strong, and they just get a push on people. Now today, it's going to be a little different, a bit of a challenge because Copperas Cove's defensive line does the exact same thing, so it's going to be interesting to see which one gives.
Second down and 13. Left to right, Darren Alves running to the left side. He's got the 30, 35, tries to get outside, flag down, run out of bounds at the 38-yard line. We'll check the flag. Chris Miller finally pushed him out. The cornerback on that far side pushed him out of bounds after about a 4 or 5 yard gain, but we'll check the flag.
Yeah, this is likely to be in the offensive holding area. And this is a lot of times where a guy like Alves will actually hurt you, because what happens is your offensive line or your blockers are blocking one way. All of a sudden he goes another way, and so does the defender, and you're stuck with the possibility the only way you keep your defender on you and blocking him is through a hold or another type of illegal block.
Well, a spot foul here. We'll check where they mark this one off. The official is stepping from the 37-yard line, and they'll move it back to the 27. So it'll be second down and I believe about 15 here. And they move the sticks, and now they do pull them tight. Okay, second down and 15 for McKinney Boyd from their own 28-yard line, moving left to right. Alves drops back 2 steps. Now he's flushed out of the pocket, runs right up the middle. He has the 30 and down right there. Tackled immediately by the linebacker, John Smart. 46 tackles on the year for Copperas Cove. And he shows why he's such a stud on that inside linebacker position. Third down and 13 for McKinney Boyd. Again, 9:32 here in the first quarter at Floyd Casey Stadium. McKinney Boyd and Copperas Cove, no score.
Yeah, Darren Alves on that play showed why he's so good too. There was a defender who had him easily 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, tried to make a tackle, and Darren just, being 5'6", outpowered him.
Alves wants to throw. Now he flushes up again. 30. He's got the 35. Gets a great block to the 40. First down to the 45. Cuts it out midfield to the 45 and out of bounds at the 43-yard line in Copperas Cove territory. That one was a great block, and Rashad Hardy knocks him out of bounds in Cove territory, but a tremendous block on that far side.
Yeah, Jeff Fuller just man, I've never seen him level somebody like that this year. Ryan Landrum was there trying to make a tackle, and all of a sudden, pow, here's Jeff Fuller. And this tells you this is more of the Darren Alves we've been used to all year. Last week he kind of took a little bit of a break. This year looks to be a little bit more back.
Well, this week he still has that nagging injury a little bit on his shoulder. It's still just, what they say is a deep bruise. We don't really know exactly what the injury is, but it's not keeping him off the field, obviously. First down and 10 for Boyd, moving left to right from the Cove 47-yard line. Alves run the option to the right side, and this time not a great block as he's going to be hit at the line of scrimmage, and they'll give him a yard on forward progress. Tanner Brock makes the stop. The outside linebacker, 6'3", 205 pounds, and runs a 4.7. The linebackers are really good around here.
The linebackers have tremendous speed. I mean, all the way across the board. Tanner Brock, Joseph Wright, the other outside linebacker. That's one of the things that this offensive line for the Broncos will have to contain today to get any outside running.
Second down and 8 from the Cove 45-yard line. Pittman in motion. He'll stand beside Alves, and he gets the hand right over left guard. Big hole up the middle initially, but it collapses almost immediately at the 42-yard line. Tanner Brock again on the stop for Copperas Cove.
Yeah, this play and last play very similar. There's lots of big holes right away, and that's the same thing Darren Alves saw last play, a hole. That's why he darted up the middle. And basically what happened is the linebackers, you mentioned their speed, Jay, just got off their blocker, and all of a sudden that hole was gone because of their quickness.
Ninth play of the drive here on 3rd down and 5 from the Copperas Cove 42-yard line. Shotgun for Alves. 2 receivers right, drops back, looks to throw, flushed up again, and now sacked. It may or may not be a sack depending on whether he gained or lost a yard. They'll bring him down at the 46-yard line. It was Anthony Gonzalez, the defensive tackle, the junior with 15 tackles, and 3 of them for a loss, and there's another one.
Yeah, it brings up 4th and 9. Likely to see a punt here. It's inside Cove territory, so you never know exactly what's going to happen. And remember, they do the quick kick, so the offensive formation's still out there. That doesn't necessarily mean you'll see a punt.
Well, Alves is lining up in the gun, and they will throw it. They're going to set it up the screen to Cameron Mazer, and Mazer didn't get it. He was hit immediately, so the ball will turn over on downs. And an interesting call there early on. Stephen Welch is right there to hit Mazer, but an interesting call there early on to set the tone, I guess, to try to keep the drive alive is what Don Drake wants to do, but it turns the ball over.
Yeah, well, I like the call, and basically the problem was immediately there was blue in the backfield. That caused a really loopy pass from Darren Alves, and once that loopy pass is there, that allows the defenders to get in there and make the stop.
Here's Copperas Cove on offense. After this first down play, we'll give you the McKinney Boyd defense. As shotgun for Robert Griffin. And a man in motion, and that's going to be Vital. And Vital gets the carry, the toss on the right side. He's got a first down and more. He could be gone to the 35-30, 25-20. Kiss him goodbye. First play of the night, and Troy Vital goes into the end zone from 57 yards out. And Copperas Cove leads this football game 6-0, awaiting the PAT.
Yeah, I can tell you right where that play went wrong. 3 people went for the quarterback on the pitch instead of going to the option man, including Miller Burns, who I think is the one who should have been on the pitch. And basically what happens, that's what the option is designed to do. If you commit to one guy, there's the other guy there, and 3 guys. And that is just not acceptable on the option play committed to the quarterback.
Well, the extra point for Copperas Cove. And we'll see, it'll be Michael Roel for the extra point. Right now, 6-0 with 6:58 left to go in the first quarter. And Roel's kick is very high and very true. 7-0, Copperas Cove over McKinney Boyd early on. 6:58 left to go in the first. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium in Baylor in Waco, Texas. 6:58 left to go in the first. And Copperas Cove goes up 7-0. Here's the kickoff. And Roel's kick's going to be a low line drive kick. Bounces 8 yards deep in the end zone and goes out of bounds. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
1 play, 14 seconds. Troy Vital showing off that 4.4 speed. A 57-yard touchdown run down the right sideline. And it's a 7-0 lead for the Copperas Cove Bulldogs over the McKinney Boyd Broncos. Interesting, Vital last week opened up the second half in the game against Dallas Samuel with an 80-yard run to begin what ended up being a rout of Dallas Samuel.
So Boyd will come back out on the field with their offense at their own 20-yard line, moving left to right, 2 receivers to either side. Alves alone in the shotgun. Mazer, the stand-up tight end, and Alves runs to the left tackle, spinning out of 1 tackle up to the 25. He's got the 30. He's got the 35. Cuts it inside, cuts it outside to the 40, and out of bounds at the 43-yard line. A 23-yard run right out of the chute by Darren Alves, and Anthony Gonzalez makes the stop. And we'll check down with John Leidy. John, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the defense came off the field on the last possession, the coaches were preaching, stay with your man. You've been assigned to a man. Whether he's blocking you or not, stay with him. They just let a man get loose there, and up the field he went. Back up to y'all.
All right. Thank you very much. John Leidy on the sideline, standing next to the Boyd Bronco coaches down there. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line for Boyd, McKinney Boyd. And this is going to be a handoff to A.J. Jones, left tackle. And he spins out of 1 tackle, but he's met by Jace Boyd and the linebacker Tanner Brock right about the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 42-yard line.
Let me tell you another great reason why this Cove defense is so good. It goes back to the speed of the linebackers. You know, A.J. Jones was held up, and he got out of it. Problem is, because he was held up, the speed of the defense with their reaction time and their ability for pursuit, he was trying to get out of 3 and 4 more tackles after that, and that's just not going to happen.
Well, and the dangerous thing about that is this is a team that's also good at stripping the football. Last week caused 5 fumbles in that game against Samuel, doing the exact same thing.
2 receivers to either side. Now A.J. Jones comes in motion, stands behind Alves, left to right, and Alves is going to carry it around the right side. Jukes one defender, spins out at the 45 and down at the 46-yard line. About a 3-yard gain, a spectacular 3-yard gain by Darren Alves.
Tanner Brock still trying to find his shoes, and you know, he's normally a sure-handed tackler. I mean, he's not. You know, we've seen this all year, and you sometimes you wonder, well, maybe the defense isn't good. That guy's a good tackler, and basically he was standing there in the form tackle position. Alves made his move, and Brock was stuck there.
You know, we're not joking. A lot of broadcasters will say and give the description of a Barry Sanders type of guy. Darren Alves, that's who he is.
Yeah.
He's like watching Barry Sanders out there.
2 for 3 on third down. Snot, big one coming here.
3rd down and 7 for McKinney Boyd, moving left to right. And Alves wants to throw, is under pressure and sacked way back in the backfield to the 31-yard line. Tanner Brock, the outside linebacker, came on a blitz and was right in Alves' face. It'll be 4th down and very long, and obviously you're going to have to punt here.
Yeah, you don't even want to put the quick kick out there. Monty, that was supposed to be a play-action pass, but my gosh, this offensive line right now at this stage of the game, it's not something we say all year. Well, I don't think we even said once. They're struggling to keep their blocks.
Well, and it wasn't just Brock that got in there. Also the end, Anthony Cotton came in with 4.5 sacks. He was a part of that play as well.
Yarbrough will stand at his own 24-yard line. And it's a slow snap, but he gets it off. A low line drive kick, going to bounce at the 42-yard line. A big high hop, and now will roll towards Copperas Cove's end zone. However, only stopping at the 34-yard line. So Copperas Cove will take over, moving right to left at their own 34-yard line with 4:08 left to go in the first. And McKinney Boyd trailing 7-0.
Well, we have an official timeout. Maybe now would be a good time to get those Boyd's defensive starters in.
Well, we'll do that. I'll tell you what, let's wait till after this this first down play here as they're coming back on the field. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Split out wide left is Donrell Rousell. And this is going to be the quarterback, Griffin, and he wants to throw the ball down the field. A big arm, but he overshoots his man. A nice big arm by the quarterback, Robert Griffin, showing it off, but he way overthrew his receiver, Tommy McLean. And the ball falls incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
Well, I can tell you why that play-action pass works so well. The safeties, what they're looking for on a run is they're looking at the tackle, because if the tackle blocks out instead of pass blocks, then you know what kind of play it is. But these tackles run blocked on a pass.
I formation will give you the starters next. 2nd down and 10. And Griffin under center this time in I formation. Handoff. And that's Vital right up the middle over left guard. Breaks away again into McKinney Boyd territory at the 46-yard line. Here's your McKinney Boyd starting defense.
Keith Owens, defensive end.
Reese Redmond, nose guard.
Justin Cordova, defensive end.
Miller Burns, outside linebacker.
Cameron Mason, inside linebacker.
Brian Garrett, inside linebacker.
Zach Adamczyk, outside linebacker.
Fargo Bolinas, cornerback.
Lamar Peoples, cornerback.
Philip Sears, safety.
Jake Siegler, safety.
Ryan Garrett, the linebacker, playing for the first time since his freshman year this year. And Montarius Pittman on offense, playing for the first time ever. Unbelievable for this McKinney Boyd Broncos. Here's Griffin on the option, running right. Trapped behind the line. And a great play by the safety coming up. Jacob Sigler along with Cameron Mazer, both right there to stop Griffin behind the line of scrimmage. About a 4-yard loss at midfield.
That was the exact same play they scored a touchdown on, right down to the offensive line blocking. But one of the guys, and I wish I could have seen who did it, went out to actually get the pitch man, and you see what happens. He didn't want to pitch it, and all of a sudden you got these white jerseys, and that was a bad play that lost a lot of yards. So that's exactly what the defense needs to do more of.
I formation again for Copperas Cove as Griffin goes under center. And Vital dots the I. Griffin hands it to him right up the middle, and not much doing there. Maybe a 3-4 yard gain, and it's going to be Landry Kemp, the sophomore, making the stop for McKinney Boyd. Not a name we mention often this year. Matter of fact, he only has 9 tackles on the season, but playing in a very big game right now.
Oh, absolutely. Again, the same play that they got big yards on earlier, the I formation, this time just to the different side, but the defensive line didn't give ground, and when you don't give ground and the running back, rather, Vital, is trying to find a hole, it just doesn't happen, and you get them right at the line of scrimmage.
Offset I set this time for Copperas Cove with 2 receivers to the near side. Right to left goes Copperas Cove. Griffin under center is going to toss it. He fakes the toss, throws the screen to the near side, to the 40, to the 35, cuts it inside to the 30, 25-20, to the 10, to the 5. Copperas Cove has scored again, and it's 13-0 awaiting the PAT with 1:57 left to go here in the first quarter.
Yeah, good misdirection play there by Cove. Basically what they did, kind of ran a play action to where the runner's going to the right side. The quarterback drops back to pass, still looking to the right. All of a sudden he turns around, and this time the defense is going to the right. So there was a massive shift to go back to the left, and by that time you just give all the time in the world for Josh Boyce to find out where he wants to go. One guy had a chance mid a missed tackle, and after that it was a foot race.
Boyce's 5th touchdown reception on the year for Copperas Cove. The extra point by Rowell is up, and it is good. 14-0 Copperas Cove over McKinney Boyd with 1:57 left to go in the first. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, where McKinney Boyd is trailing 14-0 to Copperas Cove. They just scored again, and Jay will give you the American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap in just a moment. As the ball goes up and over A.J. Jones's head, he did jump for it, and it did go through his hands, but then it rolls out of the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
5 plays, 2 minutes and 11 seconds knocked off the clock, 66 yards total on the drive, a 47-yard touchdown connection between Robert Griffin and the wideout Josh Boyce. And it's Copperas Cove in front of McKinney Boyd, 14-0.
Luckily, that kickoff right there was a long one because Jones, when he touched it, was in the end zone, and then when it rolled out, there was no problem. Boy, that kicker's got a leg on him.
1st and 10 for Boyd, who comes out moving left to right at their own 20-yard line. Alves wants to throw. He throws it in the slot. It's caught at the 24-yard line, trying to escape but can't. It is, I believe, A.J. Jones. Josh Smart makes the stop for Copperas Cove, and it was A.J. Jones on the reception.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, coming out on first down, if they're just trying to throw the Bulldogs a different look that they may not have been expecting. And obviously it worked because they were able to gain 5 yards out of it on first down. Maybe they're thinking that the Bulldogs are putting too many men in the box and therefore not allowing Alves to get the room he needs.
Call it a 5-yard gain, so Boyd will have it at their own 25. Alves runs right up the middle, now cuts it a little bit to the left side of the line of scrimmage and makes his way up to the 29, a little short of the first down, maybe by a yard. Jeff Neal will get credit for the tackle, the senior defensive end. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
And right now, McKinney Boyd on the night, 2 of 4 on 3rd down conversions. Matter of fact, 3 of those in 3rd and long situations, a short one here. And, of course, they need a first down.
Under a minute now in the first quarter. Boyd really needing to get on track here, McKinney Boyd. And Alves is going to run up the middle. I believe he has the first down and a 2-yard gain to the 31-yard line. Tanner Brock makes a stop for Copperas Cove, and we're going to hear that a lot tonight. Move the sticks. 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd from their own 31-yard line.
Yeah, Jay, one thing I'm curious about, and I don't know if you have the ability to give that stat just right now, but I don't think Darren Alves' rush per carry is as high as it normally is, and I think it's got to be because of the quickness of this Bulldog defense.
Alves wants to throw left side, and going down for it is Jeff Fuller, and they'll say he does make the catch at the 35-yard line, a 4-yard gain. He just threw a quick end to Fuller. I don't know if the ball was where Fuller wanted it because there was no room to run. Fuller, I think, just had to go down and get it.
Yeah, he was coming back to the ball. It was a little bit behind him, but again, a first down play, and Boyd comes out passing. Maybe they're just trying to loosen that defense up.
9 seconds now, 6 seconds on the first quarter clock. I don't know if we're going to get this one off or not. 3, 2, 1, and that is the end of the first quarter. We'll switch sides. 14-0 Copperas Cove over McKinney Boyd. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Now moving right to left, McKinney Boyd, and Alves wants to throw left side for Fuller, and he throws it high and out of bounds. It'll be incomplete, and 3rd down and 6.
Makes you wonder if there was a little bit of miscommunication between the two, because it looked as though Alves was throwing it out and Fuller was running it in.
Now, kind of a strange situation where you look in the stadium up top above the scoreboard, there are 4 flags, and they're all blowing in. And the wind is blowing pretty good on top of the stadium. But there are flags on top of the goalpost inside the stadium, down in the crown, and those flags aren't blowing at all. So there's not a wind factor at all on the field, according to the flags at the top of the goalpost. A.J. Jones goes in motion, stands behind Alves, and Alves wants to run the option to the right side, keeps it, and fumbles the football. It's on the turf at the 38-yard line, rather. Copperas Cove says they have it, and they do.
Boy, this is exactly what you're talking about, Jay.
John Smart recovers it at the 38-yard line for Copperas Cove.
I mean, basically all that happened, there was a huge hole for Alves to run through, and as he was running, all the Cove defender did, put his hand on the ball, and when you're running, that's all it takes sometimes to cause a fumble. And, Jay just told us Cove's very good at doing that.
And Alves does put the ball on the turf quite a bit. He has in the past, and he does once again here. And this one could be very costly, as Copperas Cove will have the ball at the McKinney Boyd 39-yard line, moving left to right. And now shotgun formation for Griffin, who stands way back in shotgun and heaves it down the field towards the left side of the end zone, and it is incomplete about the 4-yard line. And heaving the pass actually was not the quarterback. It was Josh Boyce, who stood about 7 yards deep, looked like he was in punt formation. The snap went back to him, and he heaved it down the left side.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what kind of, obviously if you don't have faith in your quarterback to make that play, you'd bring in somebody else. But I don't know if I think Griffin, I think he's got the ability to make that play. I'm kind of curious.
Well, Griffin comes out of the slot, and now he goes that quarterback. I think they were just given a different look there.
Huh.
And Griffin goes under center now in I formation. 2 receivers either side, tight end to the left, and Griffin runs the option to the right. Ooh. And Parker Bolinas makes a great play in the backfield all the way back to the 50, and they'll whistle it dead. Bolinas was trying to knock Vital back and drive him back, and he kept driving him, and he kept driving him, and they blew the whistles. Vital, I thought, was going to escape, but he didn't. And it'll be a big loss back to the 48-yard line. A great play by Parker Bolinas.
Yeah, Parker just stuck him. You got to give credit to Vital. He didn't go down, but Parker wasn't letting him get away at the same time.
Well, and that's something about the size of this running back, Troy Vital, 6 foot, 190 pounds. He is by far and away the largest running back they face this season.
3rd down and 18 for Copperas Cove. Moving left to right, 3 receivers to the left side. Griffin throws it to the slot, and that's the slot back who has it up to the 36-yard line. And on the catch will be Tommy McLean, and he'll go out of bounds shy of the 1st down. Cameron Mazer will push him out of bounds, and it will be 4th down now. Let's go down to John Leidy on the sideline. John, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, something that happened after that last offensive series is Jeff Fuller, the wide receiver for the Broncos, came over and said, hey, guys, keep your heads up, keep your heads up. He's one of the only players, there's a couple of them that have been that came from McKinney High School and who have had varsity experience and been around where there's been upperclassmen. So he knows a little bit about that leadership of a veteran program. Back up, y'all.
All right, thanks a lot. Leidy down on the sidelines. And 4th down, they're going to run it. And run the option to the near side. And that's Griffin trapped behind the line of scrimmage, trying to escape. Several Boyd Broncos there. Flag down, and so is Griffin at the 45-yard line. The flag will probably be a hold. It'll be declined, and it'll be Boyd's ball heading toward that north end zone.
Boy, you talk about just the great reaction time. So far, it's been mostly on the Bronco defense. You got to give a lot of credit there to Keith Owens, but man, I tell you, that was a special teams play because there was white everywhere, and Griffin was just, there was nowhere for him to go, literally nowhere.
Well, it's an impressive how they trapped Griffin. Griffin really known as a track star more than a quarterback. This kid won the state championship in the 300 and 110-meter hurdles this past spring.
Hey, speaking of, do you think the move from Art Briles over here to Baylor has him moving from Houston to Baylor?
Well, the main reason he was going to Houston was because they were going to allow him to compete in track and in football. With Briles coming here, wouldn't be a surprise to see a late change.
And it's also encouraging to note after the Alves fumble that the defense is able to rise up, stop him, still keep him within striking distance.
1st down and 10 for Darren Alves, and McKinney Boyd moving right to left. Mazer comes in motion, who stands right beside Alves and to the right, and Alves is going to run right, and he tries to cut the block of Mazer, and is down after about a 2-yard gain up to the 45-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7 after Tanner Brock brings down Darren Alves.
Yeah, earlier I asked Jay what Alves' rushing average was, and it was 4.7, but keep in mind there's 2 long ones in there, and I'm outside of those 2 runs, Jay. I don't think it's that high.
2 runs of 22 yards in 14 carries. You take away those 2 carries, and 4.7 drops to 1.3.
Yeah.
2nd down and 8 here with 9:36 left to go in the second quarter. Big hole for Montarius Pittman in Cove territory to the 38-yard line. First down for McKinney Boyd, and Rashad Hardy, the safety, brings him down. 9:28 left to go in the second quarter. Copperas Cove leading 14-0.
Boy, that's a play right there that proves that this Bronco offensive line has the ability to overpower the defensive, basically the front 7 that's in front of them, because Pittman didn't have to do anything but run.
Of course, Pittman coming off of a big game last week with 80 yards rushing. Already has 36 on 3 carries today.
Pittman had 2 big carries in each of the playoff games in the second half. And there's a handoff. Pittman again running right side. Oh, Alves keeps it around the left, and he's bumped down at the 31-yard line. A nice fake by Alves. And Jeff Neal, the defensive end, doesn't get fooled like the broadcaster did. And it'll bring down Alves at the 31. It'll bring up a 3rd and short. Call it 3rd and 3 here from the Copperas Cove 31-yard line.
Yeah, again, just a good run by Alves, but it was set up from good blocking by his offensive line. The thing is, you need to figure out a way to block all but one person, because Alves is going to make somebody miss.
3 receivers to the left, and now Jones comes in motion behind Alves. And he sets, and he gets the hand running right up the middle, and he trips a little bit and falls forward to the 25-yard line. Enough for the first down. They'll move the sticks here with 8:24 left to go in the second quarter. 14-0 Copperas Cove.
Nice job by A.J. Jones. Did you see him? He looked like he was in the verge of being tackled, but he knew he needed to get about a yard or 2. So what does he do? He doesn't fight for more yards in terms of trying to move his feet. He just rolls over the defender that's on the ground to get that extra yard that he needed.
First down and 10 from the Cove 25-yard line. Montarius Pittman in the backfield. Alves keeps it, and he makes one defender miss. Now spins out of a tackle, jumps over his center, I believe, and goes down at the 25. So a lot of motion there by Alves, but it was good enough for maybe 2 yards. Anthony Gonzalez, the nose guard, brought him down.
Again, Tanner Brock, a high-quality tackler on this Bulldog defense, was again mistackled, and that really shows you the power of Alves. But Tanner Brock was able to hold up Alves long enough that another one of his defensive mates was able to make a tackle.
Alves on second down is going to throw over the left side, setting up the screen. A.J. Jones, look out, to the 15, to the 10, inside 5. It's touchdown time in Texas. A.J. Jones from 23 yards out from Darren Alves, and McKinney Boyd is on the board.
Best screen pass they've ran this year. Nice job. The offensive line was right where they need to be. The play faked out the front line just enough to give Alves time to get the receiver open, but not enough time where they're on Alves right now. And after that, A.J. Jones needed to make one person miss, and he did. Beautiful play.
Yarborough's extra point nearly blocked, but it's good. 14-7 with 7:24 left to go in the second quarter. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium, where McKinney Boyd has just scored to cut the Copperas Cove lead 14-7. 7:24 left to go in the second quarter. And Yarborough will kick a high pooch kick. It's going to bounce at the 18-yard line, be picked up by Boyce, who's brought down on a great open field tackle at the 22-yard line. And a tremendous tackle by, guess who? Cameron Mazer. Mazer is always Johnny on the spot. Never leaves the field. Let's check down on the field with John Leidy. John, go ahead.
Okay, I've got 2 quick things. Cameron Mazer plays everything except for extra point. This is the first time I've noticed that he didn't even play that. He's always on the field on offense and defense, and I'll get back to you in just a second.
All right, we'll check back down with you in just a second. I formation for Copperas Cove, left to right from their own 23-yard line. Griffin looking over to the sideline, trying to get the play. Now Keith Owens and company adjust on the defensive line. Handoff Vital up the middle. Big hole once again, and finally brought down at the 34-yard line after a 11-yard first down run.
By the way, I was about to say, worst starting field position so far for Cove. It doesn't matter if you can pick up 10 yards on a carry.
Philip Sears on the stop. We'll check down with John Leidy. John, what else you got for us down there?
And the other thing that I had was the McKinney Boyd Broncos have finally figured out that they don't have time to shake and bake against Copperas Cove. They have to get straight up the field.
All right, there's our shake and bake comment again from John Leidy. 1st and 10.
Boy, you shoehorned that one in.
Handoff Vital, left guard, and brought down. Not such a big play here. Not an 11-yard run, but maybe 4.5, 5 yards.
Right now, I think the best thing that the Boyd Bronco defense can do, and something's going on.
Well, you can hear the Copperas Cove crowd.
Well, and it's the Boyd crowd as well. I think that Boyd fans are wanting some sort of unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, Daniel Cabral was 15 yards down the field somewhere in the secondary, and Lamar Peoples was nearby, so I'm not quite sure. Probably something was exchanged between the two in terms of a push or a shove.
High formation on 2nd down and 6 for Copperas Cove, moving left to right, 14-7. Copperas Cove in the lead here. 2nd quarter, handoff, fumble, and I believe Cameron Mazer jumped on it at the 41-yard line. Is that Mazer coming up with the ball? I believe it is.
We'll give it to him. Apologies if he didn't get it and somebody else did, but boy, if there's a guy who deserves to make plays, he's always around that area, and that's typical play he might make.
Cameron Mazer does get credit. That guy is all around the football all the time.
But you know what? You give me 11 guys like Cameron Mazer, I'll find you a winning team.
I'll take them all day long. 1st down and 10, moving right to left. Boyd in pretty good field position here at the Cove 41-yard line. Alves in shotgun. Pittman behind him. He's going to fake to Pittman, run right up the middle. Alves bounces out right. Pushed out, back behind. Now cuts it back inside and nowhere to go. Finally goes down right at the line of scrimmage. Tanner Brock again on the stop for Copperas Cove.
Well, and that's one of the things, again, this Boyd offense is going to have to work up the middle of the field. They can't get to the outside because this linebacking crew for Cove is so quick. If you take a look at what's been successful tonight, it's been plays over the middle of the field.
Yeah, and to steal my thunder a little bit, the plays we saw him make against Richardson Pierce, for example, coming across the field, you're not going to see that today.
As we near the midway point in the 2nd quarter, 5:28 left to go. And Alves wants to throw. Now he decides to run. Nowhere to go. Busted right at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to lose a couple of yards. It'll be officially a sack as it's a 1-yard loss back at the 42-yard line. Again, Jeff Neal, the senior defensive end, is right there to stop Alves in his tracks.
If he could have been able to find one more second, there was a guy across basically coming from the left side, going to the left sideline. It was wide open. And there was another guy nearby that had one defender. If he could have just figured out a way to find that extra time, that would have made a big difference. Now they're looking at 3rd and 12.
And 3 for 6 tonight on 3rd down conversions.
Alves in the gun by himself, drops back 3 steps. Now he's flushed out of the pocket and down, and I believe that's going to be a face mask.
Flags came in everywhere.
Boy, you could tell it's going to be a face mask when his face mask is by his back. It doesn't get more obvious than that.
4 flags lay at the feet of Darren Alves.
Yeah, normally your face mask is to the front, so like I said, it's like a flashing light with a neon sign that says I'm holding his face mask right here.
So, you think it's a personal foul?
And it is the personal foul.
It's got to be,
If there's 4 flags, it's got to be a personal foul.
If it's an incidental, your face mask maybe go to the left an inch or two. If it's a personal foul, it's when it turns around 90 degrees to 180.
I guarantee you the Copperas Cove fans are thinking, wow, they're in a situation where they had Alves as in the backfield with a sack, and that turns into a 1st down.
And that's the thing about this kid, because he's got shifting maneuvers. You may have been legitimately going for his numbers or somewhere low. All of a sudden, he's going in a different direction at a different angle, and the only thing you can grab is his face mask, even though you're going for something different in the same area.
That's a good point. He is so quick. You might have been trying to go for his jersey, but he moves around so fast that you grab some face masks. Good point. 1st down and 10 for Boyd at the Copperas Cove 28-yard line. Joseph Robinson stands with Alves, and he gets the hand right tackle, and now he's hit and met at the line of scrimmage and might have lost a yard at the 29-yard line. It'll be second down and long as Jeff Neal again makes a stop for Copperas Cove.
Yeah, let's elaborate more on that point, Jay. You cannot make cuts and you can't change your field against this defense. You have to go straight ahead because gaining a yard or getting to the line of scrimmage is a lot better than losing a yard.
If you look at the way that the Cove defense lines up, they're giving you the middle of the field.
Yeah.
They want you to run to the middle of the field.
Alves in the gun, drops back 2 steps, looks right side, throws, caught, 25-yard line. Coming inside, Montarius Pittman at the 18-yard line, very close to a first down, and I believe he has it before Rashad Hardy, the safety, got him. And Pittman, ooh, that's very close. We might have to check down with John Lighty to see if he can spot that one for us. John, whenever you're ready, pop on and give us your thoughts on this one.
Guys, they've spotted the ball at about the 18.5-yard line, and it appears that the first down marker is going to be just a little tad past the 18, and I think this is going to be about 2 to 3 inches short. I'm going to give you a light, bro, because actually its nose of the ball actually hits the pole, and it's a first down. Back up to y'all.
John Lighty excited down there.
You could tell it was a first down. Brizey got a little bit more high-pitched and a little bit more faster-paced.
That's the 8th first down tonight, and who says this Owls kid can't throw 5 of 6 for 46 yards passing here tonight?
Well, the thing is you have to craft your passing game to his ability. You can't make him do something he can't do, and he can't throw the long ball, but he can sure as heck throw a 5-yard pass in the middle of the field.
On the year, 83 out of 160 with 15 interceptions, 1,031 yards passing for Alves. And he gets it in the gun, runs left tackle, now cuts it up right tackle, spin and juking his way down to the 12-yard line. A 6-7-yard gain on first down somehow before the cornerback, Chris Miller, comes all the way across the field and makes the tackle.
Well, I can tell you that you basically said my point, because what looks like the Darren Alves and to a lesser extent the rest of the offensive running backs are doing is adjusting to the speed of the Cove defenders to some degree, because normal Alves would have tried to juke, a fake, whatever, and all of a sudden he didn't do that. He just went ahead to try to get 2 more yards.
And again, Alves running between the tackles on that play.
2 receivers split out to either side. Alves alone in the backfield. Now a man in motion is going to get the hand, and that's Robbins. That's Pittman cutting it up inside of the 1-yard line. He'll be down right at the 1. It'll be first and goal from the 1. Montarius Pittman coming across all the way from the right to left, taking the hand in motion and stumbling forward to the 1.
Jay, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but where'd he run?
Right up the middle. And again, last week, Dallas Samuel had this opportunity. They weren't able to take advantage of it. They had wide open up the middle, and it just didn't work for them. But tonight, Boyd taking advantage.
When you lose 55-7, you need a lot more than just a small advantage.
True.
2:12 left to go before half. Clock is running. 14-7, Copperas Cove. McKinney Boyd knocking on the door from the 1-yard line. Alves runs right, cuts it up inside. It's touchdown time in Texas for Darren Alves. 1 yard out, and the young man has scored in every game he's played.
God, that's incredible. Again, it was off the right tackle this time, and I don't know, it looked like Cove was actually expecting an up-the-middle run, and basically all that happened is he didn't do it, and Cove was caught back on their heels. You know, reaction time means a lot more when you've got more real estate behind you, but when you're in a first-and-goal situation, you have to be in the right place, and it's blocked.
The extra point is blocked and picked up on the left side. In chase for McKinney Boyd. Oh, and I don't believe he's going to catch him. Oh, a great what a play by Cody Sieber. Whew. It was the holder, Sieber, who ran him down and saved the point. Sieber never gave up, and he exemplifies this team. He never gave up. It would have been 2 points if he had ran it back. Sieber hauled it down at the 15-yard line.
My gosh, he ran all the way from the 10-yard line down to the other 15. I mean, that is heart and guts right there.
At the 12-yard line, he was brought down. Cody Sieber with a tremendous effort. The sophomore did not give up.
That was all heart. That's an 80-yard sprint right there, and you could tell he was like, I have to do it now or I'm not going to get him, so he made a last-minute dive.
We'll take a 30-second timeout. Be back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, when you hear the pinball wizard, you know what that means. It's a touchdown by Darren Alves. 1-yard variety here. Here's the kickoff. It's going to be a high pooch kick, going to be taken at the 25-yard line. And that's Boyce coming out the left side. Now spins around, comes right side. He tries an Alves, runs into his own man, and goes down at the 30-yard line. Pretty good field position, I guess, for Copperas Cove starting out at their own 30, moving left to right. $1:48 left to go before half. And McKinney Boyd trailing Copperas Cove 14-13. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
7 plays, 41 yards, 4 minutes and 13 seconds knocked off the clock. A 1-yard touchdown run by Darren Alves, his 31st rushing touchdown of the season. Earlier in the game, had his 10th passing touchdown. So basically, he's accounted for 41 on the year.
Good night.
1:48 before half. And what a ball game we have. It was all Copperas Cove in the first quarter, and it's been pretty much all Boyd here in the second quarter. 3 receivers to the right side, and Griffin runs the option to the right and wants to throw, and finally does, and it's caught at the 37-yard line by a receiver, and I believe that's going to be Tommy Mitchell. Actually, it's not. It's Donral Rossell who makes the catch, and it'll be second down and about 3 or maybe 2 after the 8-yard gain there on first down. And hurrying up is Copperas Cove, and Griffin throws it out in the flats again. It is caught at the 40-yard line, making a move up the inside. He's up to midfield, and I believe that's McLean all the way to the 35-30, 25 down at the 20-yard line. Parker Bolinas runs him down from all the way across the other side of the field, but that'll put Copperas Cove in great field position here with only 1:18 left to go before the half. Obviously in field goal position with their great kicker, Michael Roel.
Yeah, we better be thankful on that one because it didn't go into the hands of one of their faster guys, but that was easily able to come down.
There was a flag down on the play, but they waved it off. This officiating crew has tons of experience. The referee, Mike Atkinson, has been at this for 30 years.
Yeah, if we tried to tell you all of it, the game would be over by the time we finished.
1st and 10 for Copperas Cove at the McKinney Boyd 20-yard line. 1:11 and rolling here in the second quarter. Griffin in shotgun formation. And Vital runs out, and now Griffin runs out to the 20. Left side, 15, to the 10. Pushed out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Philip Sears pushed him out, and there's exactly a minute on the clock.
Man, it's really weird to try to analyze this offense versus defense because at one time it looks like this defense just shuts them down, depends on which downs, and another set of downs it looks like the Bulldogs are able to do whatever they want on any play. I mean, that's 3 consecutive plays that have gone for a first down.
3 receivers come near side. Moving left to right is Copperas Cove. They gave him the 7-yard line, so it's 1st and goal from the 7. Griffin in the gun. Vital stands to his right. Griffin wants to run right side. He's got the 5. And running vertically down the line and now into the end zone in the near corner, front corner of the end zone. Goes Robert Griffin, the quarterback, on the keeper. And Copperas Cove scores.
And a nice show of agility right there by Griffin. He ran inside and then was able to bounce it outside, had the speed to get to the corner of the end zone and beat the defender for the Broncos. And again, you know, that is the challenge at hand. You've got 2 track stars in the backfield with Griffin and Vital. Pick your poison.
20-13 now. Copperas Cove in the lead, and they'll try the extra point here. And Roel will come on. Again, the flag's not blowing at all on the top of the goalpost. They are blowing very much on top of the scoreboard, but inside the playing field they're not. And the kick is true. 21-13, Copperas Cove in the lead with 53 seconds left to go before half. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
In 1890, Texas.
Copperas Cove doing the rowboat in the kickoff formation. They're all doing some kind of crazy rowboat formation. I don't know what they're doing.
Train or skiing. I haven't quite figured it out. It was really cool when the drums were getting into it because it really set a beat behind it.
21-13, Cove in the lead over McKinney Boyd with 53 seconds left to go before the half. Jay will give you an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap right after this. It's kind of a low squibber kick, going to bounce at the 25-20, and it's going to go out of bounds at the 12-yard line. So a flag down. And a nice effort by Copperas Cove's John Roppel to dive for the football, try to knock it back in, but he wasn't able to. So
Well, and a great job by A.J. Jones not to try and pick it up, instead allowing it to go out of bounds. Your scoring drive recap, 4 plays, only a minute and 2 seconds, covering 63 yards, a 7-yard touchdown run by Robert Griffin, his 23rd rushing touchdown of the season. He now has 4 carries for 11 yards here tonight.
That kick going out of bounds is really good for a couple of reasons. One, obviously it's a penalty that's going to go in favor of the Broncos. It looks like they're going to re-kick it. But 2, no time went off the clock.
53 seconds before half here, and Copperas Cove is going to have to re-kick. So A.J. Jones and Joseph Robinson and company will go back deep again. And we'll check down with John Leidy. John, he might have something for us down on the sidelines. John, whenever you're ready.
Guys, since McKinney Boyd scored that last touchdown, the energy down here on the sideline and the stands has been ecstatic. But then when Copperas Cove responded with that touchdown right there, it's kind of deflated. We've got 53 seconds left in the second half, and with that, McKinney Boyd hopes to maybe run this kickoff back with A.J. Jones. Monty?
You know, and that's a good point. A.J. Jones ran one back 94 yards last week, and that probably very on the tip-top of the mind of Jack Welch, the head coach from Copperas Cove.
Well, and it was also probably the game winner.
Hey, Jack Welch isn't one of the highest-paid coaches in the state for nothing. Over $100,000 a year. There's a high, deep kick going to be taken by A.J. Jones, who nearly steps out. But he catches it and comes up to the far side. Now all the way across the field at the 15-yard line. Stopped in his track and knocked backwards to the 12-yard line. They'll give him forward progress in between the 14 and the 15-yard line. He caught the ball on the near side and was, I'm not kidding you, 2 inches away from stepping out of bounds.
Yeah, and Monty, you've heard me make mention of how coaches hate it when a back tries to reverse field like that. That happens for one reason. Obviously, first, if it doesn't work, they're obviously upset. 2, if it works, they're going to be more apt to try it again, just like they did there. You can't do this against any of these Cove defenders, whether it's special teams or not, because they are just too fast.
Well, there's 44 seconds on the clock. And Boyd is trailing 21-13. Alves in the gun, wants to throw, sets up the screen, caught by Fuller at the 12, makes a move to the 15, up to the 20-yard line, crosses the 20 to the 22. So with 33 seconds in rolling here, McKinney Boyd will have to stop the clock, and they do. They'll take a timeout. We will too. 21-13, Copperas Cove. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and John Leidy and Jay Lindley and Rob Johnson. It's second down and 2 here for McKinney Boyd, moving right to left with only 30 seconds left to go before half at their own 22-yard line. Man in motion, and they're going to hand off in the triple reverse. A.J. Jones to the right side, 20, 25, 30, down the sidelines to the 40, and steps out of bounds at the 44-yard line, shy of midfield. Anthony Gonzalez, the nose guard, ran all the way down and pushed him out.
Well, it's funny because there were 2 linebackers who thought that Darren Alves had the ball, and they were running after him. Meanwhile, Jones is running right behind him as if they're blocking for him.
And a smart play by A.J. Jones, not trying to get extra yardage, instead getting out of bounds. That play lasting only 8 seconds.
22 seconds on the clock. It was Pittman on the reverse who took the ball and then pitched it to Jones. And Alves wants to throw down the field. It's caught at the 50. Making a move is Pittman inside to the 41-yard line. Another timeout's coming here. 16 seconds on the clock. The clock had already stopped as soon as Pittman went down to move the chains. We'll take another timeout. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. 16 seconds before half. McKinney Boyd trailing 21-13. And they're 41 yards away. Alves in the gun on 1st and 10. But the most important stat on the board is 16 seconds. 2 receivers either side. Now A.J. comes in motion. Alves setting up the screen. Now wants to throw left. Flushed out of the pocket. He's up to the 40, right side. Cuts it inside to the 30. All the way to the near side, 25. All the way to the 20. And dragged down by the shirt tail. No, he won't go down. And he finally does at the 19 with 3 seconds on the clock. They'll move the sticks. Chris Miller, the cornerback, makes the stop. And a timeout has been called again. We'll keep it right here.
Well, I was going up the elevator with the Copperas Cove broadcast crew earlier today, and they're like, well, is this Darren Alves kid really as good as we've been hearing? And go, at some point, your knees will buckle, and that's the run where everybody's knees in the press box buckled, just because he makes anybody in the open field unsure if they're going to bring him down, and that's exactly what he wants because that works to his advantage.
That was unbelievable. I thought for a moment he was going to waste too much time and the clock was going to expire, but somehow he goes down with 3 seconds left.
Field goal, or do you go for, because it's kicking game, one tipped extra point, one blocked extra point, but at the same time, you're just inside the red zone. Well,
I think you got to take a chance here, and you either drop back, throw the football, or drop back and run it just like Alves.
Well, and the field goal would be a 36-yarder, which would be pretty lengthy. So, in my mind, you have to go for it. Only 3 seconds here in the half.
Yarborough's long on the year was 30, and that was at Denton, or versus Denton. Here's Alves, drops back, throws the fade route in the end zone for Fuller, up and incomplete. He was in double coverage, and Fuller couldn't come down with it. The half has ended, but hey, McKinney Boyd's in this football game 21-13 with the state finalists from last year.
Man, you really like to see a little bit something there different at the end. Fuller had a chance at it, but he made his leap probably just a bit too close to the line of scrimmage. So,
John Leidy's probably down there seeing this team walk off the field, and got to get.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the first half here, and you got to think that the coaches have got to be feeling pretty good being only down by 8 points in the first half here to Copperas Cove. But you also got to think that coaches go, wow, we shot ourselves in the foot there early on in the first quarter and basically spotted them 14 points right off the bat. So either way you look at it, it could be good or bad depending on your view of this game at the moment. I'll be right up to the booth in just a couple minutes, man.
All right, thanks a lot, John. 21-13, McKinney Boyd trailing Copperas Cove at the half. And welcome to the Law Office of Lockmiller and Higgins halftime show. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
Brandon Helms and Jonathan Leidy.
Well, before we get to Brandon Helms and Jonathan Leidy, we have a special guest in the booth, and that is Superintendent Tom Crow. Welcome to the booth.
Thank you, Monty.
Let's talk a little bit about this football game. A long trip down here, but so far it's been well worth it, hasn't it?
It really has been. These young men have no quit in them. They will battle you to the end. They went from 0-10 a year ago to where they are today. And one thing that impressed me about this group and Coach Don Drake and all the coaches, at 0-10, they were still battling at every game. And so it's showing up tonight as well.
And we were talking during the commercial break that the effort that Cody Sieber had to run down the kid for the extra point just exemplifies this entire football team, doesn't it?
Absolutely does. They won't stop until they drop, and they have proven that time and again this year. They had a chance to fold tonight when it's 14-0 against the runner-up in state last year, and they came back and they're in this ball game.
Now, you've been a coach before. Talk about Darren Alves. Have you ever seen a kid like him?
I never have. I've never seen anybody that could stop and start as quick as Darren can, and seems to have a sixth sense about what direction the defender is going, and he can go the opposite way.
Seems like he can stop on a dime and cut on a nickel and spin on a penny and all this kind of stuff,
Absolutely.
You were very instrumental in what's going on out here. You were in the process of hiring Don Drake to be McKinney Boyd's head coach. Talk about that.
Well, I was very privileged to be a part of that. Of course, Rick McDaniel played a key role in it, and Keith Geringer played a key role in it. Don has done just a phenomenal job. He didn't panic when they went 0-10. He's just got a calm demeanor about him. But there's a fire burning deep down inside of him, and you can see it in his eyes at every game. And so we're very blessed to have Don. Of course, we're blessed to have him at North and now at McKinney Boyd.
Well, there's some also interesting things going on right now back in McKinney, and that's the basketball tournament. Talk about that.
Well, we've got I believe it's a 30-team basketball tournament going on, both boys and girls. It's going on at all three high schools. And from what I've heard from coaches that have come in, they said it's one of the best run tournaments they've ever seen. Of course, when you put Rod Casper and some people in charge of a tournament, it's going to be well run. Of course, our basketball coaches. I think we're going to have some exciting basketball games this year between the girls and the boys. Of course, Boyd had a phenomenal volleyball season this year. It's been a good year in McKinney ISD.
You know, over the years, you and I have talked about, I always ask a question about new stadiums and stuff like that, but for once I'm not going to ask you about anything of that. I'm just going to say thank you for the press box over the past couple of years, because I know Brandon and I and Jay and Rob and Jonathan, we all really appreciate the press box at Ron Post Stadium. It is gorgeous.
Well, and that community deserves that. Until we can build a new stadium, the community has supported the school district, they've supported athletics, and I'm proud that we were able to do that. And, of course, if you're going to honor somebody like Ron Poe, you'd better have a first-class press box as well.
Now, McKinney Boyd here trailing 21-13. We don't want to talk about bad things to come about McKinney Boyd, but what's the probability of Class 5A for next year?
I think it's a very strong probability that they'll go Class 5A. If they do, we're hopeful that they may send them west instead of south, at least for the first couple years, for the next go-around. I don't know if they will or not, but I'd hate to see them thrown in with the mega schools, the Planos, the Allens, and if they go south, that's who they'll get thrown in with. At least to the west, it's the schools in Louisville who aren't quite the mega schools that the ones south are. But, if they put us down there, that's who we're going to compete with. And you see tonight, they aren't going to back down from anybody.
I think you're right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Superintendent Tom Crow. We want to thank you for coming by the booth here tonight.
Thank you, Monty.
All right, take care. It is 21-13, Copperas Cove in the lead over McKinney Boyd. We're going to take a quick timeout on the Locke, Miller, and Higgins Law Firm halftime show. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
Our highlight section, and they're right in the middle of it. But you know what? I got to like something, the way that if you could just throw out that first quarter that the Broncos played, they really started to figure out this Cove defense. Now, the main question is going to be, does this Bronco defense figure out the Cove Bulldog offense?
As we come back to play here, Griffin goes in shotgun formation from their own 29-yard line, left to right. And Griffin hands off left side, and that's vital. He gets to the outside marker, about a 5-yard gain. There's a flag down, and we'll check that as Philip Sears pushed him out.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot to check. Somewhere along the way, a Cove Bulldog just basically got the square back end of a Bronco defender and shoved it to the ground. And anytime you see that, that's as bad an obvious penalty as it gets.
And they do call the hold, so they'll back him up here.
Just the third penalty a night against Cove. 3 penalties for 25 yards so far in this one.
Well, and we got to, you looked at Marshall last week, and you really thought they were a better team than the Broncos from a talent perspective, but just didn't really know how to play mistake-free football. This Cove Bulldog team has really done a good job of playing mistake-free football today.
Well, when you get to the state finals,
yeah,
you're a pretty good football team, as they did last year.
And you got to be encouraged. They're only down by 8 at this point.
Again, when Jack Welch took over this program, they were horrible, and he's turned them into a great program. Here's a handoff up the middle, vital. Big hole to the 40. Look out, 50. Into the 40. Down to the 30. 25. Pushed out of bounds at the 23-yard line in Boyd territory. Lamar Peoples was there to chase him down and push him out. But a huge run all the way in McKinney Boyd territory.
I'm doing some quick math. 71-yard run there, and you know what? It's a really correction actually. Yeah, we'll make that a 58. But you look at this Cove offense really is nothing special. They're fast and their offensive line blocks. And if you put that combination together, it's a really simple combination, but really hard to find. And when you do, you'll get an offense just like this.
Griffin in the gun with 2 men in the backfield along with him. And 2 wide receivers. Griffin drops back 2 steps, wants to throw a screen pass, and a great play right up the middle. And that's going to be Reese Redmond, who reached up his hands and almost intercepted it. But the problem is Reese Redmond almost got called for a penalty because he was upset because he dropped the ball, picked it back up, and spiked it down.
Well, Cameron Mazur, he's not. You remember last week Mazur was just able to stick that paw out and he was able to make the interception. But if you can get that kind of play out of your nose tackle, I'll take my chances.
Tight end to the left side for Cove, as Griffin will go under center here with 2 receivers to the right. And Vital in the backfield. Now he'll back up in shotgun formation. And now whistles fly. And I believe this is going to be too much time on the clock. And it's actually a false start against Copperas Cove, so back them up 5 yards. We were talking about how clean of a football team they were, and now all of a sudden some penalties are flying in their face.
Well, I'm just more commenting on how good the stadium crew scoreboard operator is. I mean, as soon as that flag was out, that game clock was reset, and so that's what we both looked over, saw 25, which usually means there's a delay of game.
2nd down and 15 from the McKinney Boyd 27-yard line. Griffin runs it to the right side, gets a great block, cuts it 25 to the inside 21-yard line. And I believe Brandon says there's another hold down there.
I thought I saw one, but there's not a flag called. And maybe the homer in me coming out wanting a hold on a play that's, gets all the penalty back.
Parker Bolinas will make the stop for McKinney Boyd on the near side here. Of course, left to right, Copperas Cove moving towards the south end zone. We'll set up an I formation at the McKinney Boyd 21-yard line, 3rd down and 8. With 11:04 left to go in the third quarter, Copperas Cove up 21-13. Handoff Vital right up the middle. Bounces out, and spins down at the 18-yard line. It'll be 4th and 5. And Keith Owens will make the stop for McKinney Boyd, and we'll probably see the leg of Michael Roel here.
And see, Monty, that play is a great example of not giving up on your block, because no one really tackled him from a form tackle perspective, but because they stuck with their man and didn't give any gaps, there was really nowhere for him to run, and he eventually fell down.
They're going to go for it here on 4th down.
0-1 on 4th down tonight.
That's
4th and 5.
That's a weird call.
From the Boyd 18-yard line. I formation. Griffin goes under center. 2 receivers to the right side. Tight end to the left. And handoff. Vital up the middle. Big hole. 1st down and more to the 5. And into the end zone goes Troy Vital. His 21st touchdown of the year. And Copperas Cove goes up 27-13, awaiting the PAT with 10-13 left to go in the third.
Again, nothing fancy. A strong offensive line and then a fast runner. If your offensive line can hold the first wave of defenders and you got a very quick running back, you're going to have success. It's really as simple as that, and that's all that play was. I thought it was odd that because they've got a really solid kicker, and it was well within his range, so that's just kind of odd to see that call.
Well, Roel on for the PAT. It's on the floor. It's in the air, and it's good. 28-13, Copperas Cove in the lead with 10-13 left to go in the third. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, where Copperas Cove now leads 28-13 over McKinney Boyd. And Roel will kick this one off. Back deep, Jones and Robinson, and it's going to be kicked towards Jones. And it bounces at the 4 and rolls into the end zone, a touchback. So McKinney Boyd will have the ball. 1st and 10 at their own 20, moving right to left. How about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap, Jay?
4 plays, 71 yards. A minute 47 knocked off the clock. It was capped off by an 18-yard Troy Vital touchdown run, his second touchdown run of the day so far today. 10 carries, 168 yards.
That drive really set up by the 58-yard run by Vital earlier. And the touchdown, of course, on the 4th and 5 is a knee buckler for McKinney Boyd fans. Here's Robinson, goes in motion, and now another flag. And this one looks like it's going to be against McKinney Boyd, false start. So both teams coming out pretty sloppy here in the second half.
Yeah, no question about it. Brenton Liggins, I mean, it doesn't get more of an obvious move than that, except maybe a back pedal from the set position, clear bob. And I can tell you, if you can see it from up here without the use of binoculars, the rest down on the field are going to see it quite easily.
3 penalties for 20 yards in this one against the Broncos.
Not bad.
Shotgun for Alves. Robinson behind him. 3 receivers right side, including the tight end. Alves runs left side, gets a block from his fullback, spins out of a tackle up to the 20 and down at the 21-yard line. A nice run by Alves before, guess who gets him? Tanner Brock, the 6'3", 205-pound outside linebacker who leads his team with 125 tackles. That was coming into tonight. He probably has 150 by now.
Boy, is there anybody who makes a 5-yard run look any more amazing than Darren Alves?
I haven't seen one. The superintendent, Tom Crow, hadn't seen one either, as we mentioned at half. Here's Alves running the option, cuts it back left side. He's in trouble this time and caught behind the line. It's going to be a 2-yard loss. John Smart, the middle linebacker, stopped him in his tracks, brought him down, and they'll have the ball at the 19-yard line now. They'll give him the 18, actually. It'll be 3rd down and 12. With 9:20 left to go in the third, McKinney Boyd trailing Copperas Cove 28-13.
Yeah, that didn't look very amazing at all. Just simple option play, and for some reason he had the ability to pitch it, didn't, tried to cut up in the middle, and there was just too much blue of Copperas Cove.
2 receivers either side. Montarius Pittman now comes in motion, stands behind Alves. Alves wants to throw it, throws it to Fuller. It's caught at the 20, trying to break a tackle, does, up to the 30, spinning down, up to the 34-yard line. A first down for McKinney Boyd, and there is Jeff Fuller, the one we know who's going to Oklahoma, and that's the Jeff Fuller that we wanted to see earlier in the season, and he shows up tonight.
Yeah, and we were actually talking about it. It's a shame he didn't get a whole lot of chances this year because Darren Alves, a sophomore quarterback, still developing his passing game, but that's a clear example of why Oklahoma is recruiting the guy. Catching the open field, has to make a defender miss, does, and then once he's hit, he's still able to move the pile for about 3 or 4 yards.
The big, tall, 6'4", 6'5" receiver is credited for the first down. Here's Alves with a big hole up the middle, spinning down, and finally goes down at the 39, 40-yard line, a 5-yard gain. Philip Tedder, another inside linebacker. They have so many kids over there that they interchange on defense, and Tedder comes in and makes a stop there.
Man, I tell you, I'm just really impressed by this Cove defense because a lot of times you'll see a cutback by Alves, and it'll go for an extra 10 yards. He makes a cutback here, and there's another blue jersey in his face. I mean, they've played a really amazing game.
Right now, Alves 24 carries for 109 yards.
Alves in the gun, drops back 2 steps, looks Fuller's way, in trouble behind the line, spins out of a tackle, spins out of another one, but can't spin out of the latest one. And that's Stephen Welch. Also there, John Smart to bring him down. Another loss on the play, but not very much. It'll be 3rd down and about 5.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll see a quarterback in the pocket get rushed, and that'll set up a big run, even from non-running quarterbacks, because the defensive line's so spread out and really in a cockeyed position. Here, you'd think that would work out for Darren Alves, but I'm telling you, this Cove defense, they've got to have 15 guys out on the field because there's no running lanes.
Like Don Drake said, defense wins championships, and Drake and Copperas Cove is showing one right now. Alves throwing it down the field, and it is almost intercepted, but Cameron Mazer makes the catch at the 47 and makes his way to the 50-yard line. That ball hung up for a little bit, just enough to get over the defender's head and into Cameron Mazer's arm.
Arguably, that's one of the best passes that we've seen out of Darren Alves all year because he threw it where if Mazer doesn't make the catch, no one else is going to get their hands on the football.
Ryan Landrum, the guy who almost picked it off, but needed about another inch or two. Again, Darren Alves will throw it. 15 interceptions on the year. 7:01 left to go in the third. Alves setting up the screen, and it's caught by A.J. Jones. Same play they scored on, to the 40, to the 35-30, breaking out of a tackle down to the 27-yard line. Another first down, and here's McKinney Boyd's offense.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of the best passing games of the year for Darren Alves. I mean, did you see that? 5 guys coming at him on the defensive line. You know what he does? Takes another 2 steps back. That's amazing.
Josh Boyce on the stop for Copperas Cove. They'll move the sticks. It'll be 1st and 10 for Boyd.
Alves 10 of 12 through the air for 119 yards. And, of course, that screenplay, the first time it went for 23 yards and a touchdown. That time right there going for 22 yards.
Alves in the gun. 3 receivers left, including the tight end Mazer. Now he comes back, stands beside Alves. Normally means run, and it does, as Alves runs left. And he tries to cut the corner at the 20, cuts it inside to the 15, down to the 10, spinning down to the 5. Oh, yeah! It is touchdown time in Texas! My goodness! Darren Alves will not quit!
Are you kidding me?
Wow!
2 people didn't have a chance to tackle Darren Alves, yet he still gets in the end zone.
I wonder if the Cove broadcast crew wonder if he's for real now. 26 carries for 135 yards now on the night.
And I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of this facility, but I love the replay.
There's Yarborough's extra point kick. No tip, no block. It's good. 28-19. 28-20, rather. 8-point game, 6:22 left to go in the third. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLA. 28-yard touchdown run by Darren Alves, and it was unbelievable, spectacular, any adjective you want to use. It was superlative. And, Jay, you have an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap, and we'll hang on. Well, as they fake the Quail onside, go ahead, Jay.
8 plays, 80 yards, 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Ran off the clock, a 28-yard run by Darren Alves.
And here's a low squib kick, going to be taken at the 25-yard line. Coming up is Boyce to the 32-yard line. So now the score 28-20. Copperas Cove in the lead with 6:16 left to go in the third quarter. And just when you think Copperas Cove keeps pulling away out of this game, coming right back is McKinney Boyd, and they just keep coming right back.
Speak for yourself on that one. Until that final gun sounds, I'm not giving up on this team whatsoever. I mean, I'll be honest. At 14-0, I was a little worried.
Well,
but
you keep waiting in the direction of this game, the way Vital has been able to run with 158 yards.
Got to get a stop.
Griffin has been able to do. You think that Copperas Cove at some point is going to pull away, but Boyd is not letting them. They keep fighting back. 28-20, 6:16 left to go in the third. Here's Griffin, and he's going to keep it around the left side. No, he hands off on the option to Boyce, who's dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. A.J. Jones on a great play at the 31-yard line.
Well, you remember he came into the game last week, but he was coming in on a blitz, and maybe this time coach's direction. Jones, you get Vital, nobody else.
First negative run of the night for Vital, and I love having A.J. Jones in right now because of the speed that the Cove offense has up front with Griffin. And with Vital, having Jones in there, he's able to cut out the outside run.
And Vital down to 157 yards now after the 1-yard loss. Second down and 11, 5:38 left to go in the third. 28-20, Cove in the lead. Under center goes Griffin, handoff up the middle, and that's Vital. Squirts through again, up to 45, makes a man fall down. Oh, what a move by Vital. 20, 15, 10 down the sideline into the end zone.
That was a push in the back.
Block in the back by Sean Daugherty, and the officials apparently didn't see it.
How? That wasn't inside the tackle box. That was 20 yards downfield.
Well, nonetheless, it is a touchdown, and it's 34-20. Copperas Cove in the lead with 5:22 left to go in the third, awaiting the PAT.
I think this is kind of what you're making reference to when you talk about Copperas Cove. You think they're going to pull away. But the difference between the two offenses in this game has been Copperas Cove will score in 3 plays. Meanwhile, the Broncos, they're going to just pull out a long drive on you. And at some point, you need to stop this Bulldog offense because they're getting too many big plays. But at the same time, you think at some point their defense will wear down.
High snap. Griffin brings it down, and Roel kicks it. No, it's no good. It's no good. So it is a 2-touchdown game now. 34-20. Copperas Cove in the lead with 5:22 left to go in the third. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, Texas. 5:22 left to go in the third, and Copperas Cove leading McKinney Boyd 34-20. As Roel will kick off for Copperas Cove here, a high corner kick. A.J. Jones takes it at the 3, coming up the near side, and he's met immediately at the 16-yard line. A tremendous hit by Copperas Cove. A.J. Jones, one of those, a stunner, kind of like if you were watching the Cowboy game last night. If you were privileged enough to watch the Cowboy game last night, you saw Roy Williams come through the line and make a pop, and that's exactly what happened to A.J. Jones right there. It'll be 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd, moving right to left from their own 17-yard line.
Your scoring drive recap: 2 plays, 68 yards on the drive, 1 minute knocked off the clock, a 69-yard touchdown run by Troy Vital, his third of the evening. He's up to 236 yards rushing on the night.
American Bank of Texas, the key to your dreams. Sponsors the scoring drive recap. Montarius Pittman goes in motion, stands behind Alves, and a little bit to the left, and he gets the hand, and going nowhere, right down the line of scrimmage for no gain. Stephen Welch right there to put the stop on Montarius Pittman.
If it seems like I'm fawning over the Copperas Cove defense, I apologize. It's just a really good crew. On that play, Pittman, by the time the whistle blew, there was one guy not on the pile for this Bulldog defense. I mean, it's just amazing the fact how they get so close to the ball so fast.
They swarm to the football, no doubt. 4:46 and rolling here in the third. McKinney Boyd trailing by 2 touchdowns, 34-20. Joseph Robinson now goes in motion. He'll stand beside Alves. And now a whistle will blow, and this will be a false start against McKinney Boyd. So it'll be 2nd down and 15 now. And we'll check down with John Leidy down on the sideline. John, go ahead. What do you got for us?
The Boyd Broncos are learning a very valuable lesson here in the second half. They're riding the roller coaster of emotion. I mean, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and if the defense is going to live by the philosophy of winning a championship, the defense is going to have to step up. But also the speed of the game is picked up, and you see Boyd is slowing down a little bit, and Copperas Cove is just keeping intensity up. We'll get back to you in a little bit.
All right, thanks, John. 2nd down and 15 from their own 12-yard line. Alves drops back. Now he wants to run out of the pocket, up the left hash, cuts it up to the 20, to the 22, and wrestled out of bounds by about 7 Copperas Cove Bulldogs, including Rashad Hardy, the safety.
Again, a good play by Alves, just coming off on the left side. Huge gaping hole. And this linebacking core, this has got to be the best linebacking core we've seen all year. I mean, they've got speed and they've got strength. And, you know, our crew is pretty good, but they're just a hair underneath getting to these guys' level.
3rd down coming up. The Broncos 6 for 9 tonight on 3rd down, 2 for 2 here in the second half.
Alves in the gun, 2 receivers, right side, Mazer in the slot to the right, and Pittman goes in motion. Alves, a great misdirection. Alves is going to be spun down by the helmet at the 30-yard line. He has the 1st down, no penalty flag. Tanner Brock on the stop, the outside linebacker. They'll move the sticks, but I could have sworn there was a hand come in on Alves' helmet, and I thought he was actually drugged down by the back of his helmet.
I mean, that's the same thing as a face mask, because that's just as dangerous and really why a face mask penalty is a face mask penalty. But apparently, and I'm going to give the referees the benefit of the doubt, got him by the shoulders.
Alves in the gun. Boyd from their own 30. Alves is going to run and runs left and is spun down, and he took a vicious hit right in the back. And we'll see if Alves is okay. He took a real big hit, and he does get off the turf, and he'll lose a couple of yards back to the 29-yard line. It was Anthony Gonzalez who had the big, vicious hit, the defensive tackle on Darren Alves.
Practically a kidney shot coming in with the helmet, and Alves had his back exposed to Cotton, and there's really nothing Alves could do to avoid that hit. Very important here to keep the momentum going, though, of this drive for the Broncos.
2nd down and 11 from their own 29. Boyd moving right to left with 3:16 left to go in the 3rd, trailing 34-20. Alves wants to throw in the pocket all the way down the field. 3 men in coverage trying to find A.J. Jones. It's tipped up and intercepted at the 35-yard line, and falling all the way back. A big loss after he picks it off is the cornerback Chris Miller, and he falls backwards several yards back to the 26-yard line, and there's a man down.
It's Montarius Pittman. He was the one who's going to get credit for that tackle, but I think he's going to get credit because his look on the replay, I think he stepped on the interceptor's back leg.
Well, I think as our spotter points out, Rob Johnson, he's pointing out that I think he just twisted his ankle maybe on the turf. And, he went up for it, came down, and it might actually be a knee. This could be an extended timeout. Montarius Pittman on the turf. You have to feel for the young man who's never played football before until this year, which is unbelievable in itself. But he's on the field. We'll take a quick timeout. Back in a moment. It's 34-20 at Floyd Casey Stadium. Copperas Cove in the lead on 97.5 KLAK.
KLAK.
3 minutes and 2 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. Copperas Cove leading 34-20. Phillip Sears on the tackle after about a 5-yard gain there on 1st down by Copperas Cove. Montarius Pittman got off the field rather gingerly on his looks like it might have been a knee. We won't speculate. I don't know exactly what the injury is, but it took him a while to get off the field, and it didn't look good for the first-year player, Montarius Pittman, who had a tremendous season, and hopefully he can make his way back here. Shotgun formation for Griffin as 2 receivers go left side, man in motion to the right, and they're going to run the swing pass. Parker Bolinas comes up, and another great play by Parker in the backfield to stop the receiver. And they'll actually give him 2 yards on the play. But Parker Bolinas reads that screen so well.
Lost 2 yards on the play.
He's read it well all year, and that was, again, what they did is they took the wide receiver to block anybody coming in pursuit, and basically somebody else was supposed to block Parker. And, like you said, Monty, he's defended it well all year. Nobody's been able to block him consistently.
Griffin will stand back and shotgun at his own 26. 3 receivers left side. Griffin rolls left and throws the screen pass out all alone. Is McLean, who makes one defender miss and spins out of a tackle after the first down marker and goes out of bounds at the 43. Miller Burns finally pushes him out. But Copperas Cove will move the sticks with $1:36 left to go in the third, leading McKinney Boyd 34-20.
Boy, and that might be one of those plays you go and look at, because if you make that tackle there, you're going to put them in a fourth down inside their own 40, and your chances of punting are a lot greater. But at this point, you give them a first down, and now you almost feel like it's a matter of time before you see another Copperas Cove big play.
We're running basically the same formation to the other side here. 3 receivers to the right. Griffin and Vital in the backfield. Griffin rolls right, and he throws a screen out to Vital, who's got the 40, spinning down out of the 45 out to the 47-yard line, about 7 yards on first down. Philip Sears comes over and knocks Vital on his seat at the 47.
At this point, you need a turnover. I mean, I think it's really as simple as that, because you almost think they're getting 7 yards on the first down, and you think, man, that's not a lot at all compared to what we've seen them do so far. But if they can keep that up, they'll actually put a sustained drive together.
Well, what Vital has done real well is run the ball right up the middle, and that's when he's had most of his success so far tonight. They're doing a lot of swing plays to the outside here.
Yeah, you almost expect to see it up the middle here.
Second down and about 5. And Griffin's going to fake the hand and run the bootleg out. Now the throwback down to McLean, who goes up for it, and a great play by Parker Bolinas to knock the ball away. Bolinas never bit, and he went up, turned around, and knocked the ball out of McLean's hand.
Well, is he not one of the best corners in the district, and probably even in 4A? He's been making plays like this all year.
Well,
I mean, that's fantastic.
And great timing on the jump. Having the mindset to wait, and then go up for the football. A great job by Bolinas there to say what could have been a long touchdown.
Key play here on third down for Copperas Cove.
2 for 4 tonight on third downs.
3rd and 5 from their own 47-yard line. Griffin, handoff, Vital up the middle, and he bounces it out right side, first down to the 45. And Bolinas will bring him down at the 43-yard line in Boyd territory, and another first down for Copperas Cove. And when they want yardage, all they have to do is hand off up the middle to Vital.
At this point, if I'm Copperas Cove, it's Vital left, Vital right, Vital up the middle.
Why not? 14 carries, 250 yards on the night for Troy Vital, the commit to Houston.
For the moment.
Yeah. Mr. Bryles might have something to say about that.
Yeah, he may be at Baylor here in the next week or so. Probably news on that. Cameron Mazer showing blitz here as Griffin spins it out. Parker Bolinas picks it off at the 40, cuts it up to the 50. Ball's on the turf, and he's going to knock it out of bounds. Yeah. Oh, Copperas Cove could not get it before it went out of bounds. Parker Bolinas last had possession, so McKinney Boyd will retain possession inside Copperas Cove territory at the 44-yard line. You wanted a turnover. There you go.
Well, and that's a gift wrap turnover. That's a simple miscommunication between receiver and quarterback. Griffin expecting a fly pattern down the side, Griffin was expecting an out. The receiver ran a fly pattern down the sideline, and Parker, again, one of the best corners we've seen all year, reading the quarterback, saw the pass coming, broke off the receiver, and intercepted it.
And Griffin, a quarterback that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, that was only his 7th pick of the season.
Well, then that tells you think it's got to be the receiver.
Remember, Mazer was showing blitz on that play, too. Shotgun for Alves with Schmidt standing to his left. First time we've seen him. Of course, Pittman out of the game. Robinson also back there. And Alves is going to keep it around the left side. Now tries to come back left, runs into Robinson and falls down at the 50. A 4-yard loss, a 5-yard loss on first down. Jeff Neal was right there to bring down Alves once he ran into Robinson. That is the end of the third quarter. 34-20. It's only a 2-touchdown game on 97.5 KLAK. Oh, it's fourth quarter time in Texas, and Darren Alves takes a shot to open the fourth quarter by Anthony Gonzalez, who's right in his face. Another loss. And actually, it'll be third, and, well, he might have gained a yard there.
Yeah, he did. And Monty, that play is a real good example of what this Copperas Cove defense is about. We've seen Darren Alves, when he thinks he can make a play, not follow his blockers a lot, but in this play, he should have.
11:31 left to go in the game. McKinney Boyd trailing Copperas Cove 34-20. Alves in the gun, drops back 2 steps, sets up the screen. It's caught by Mazer, and he is pummeled at the 47-yard line.
You know, I know it looks like a big hit by Tanner Brock, but you know what? You hit a guy who had his back to you, who just caught a pass. If you can't nail him to the ground, you know, something's wrong.
That was a play that was so successful last week against Marshall, running Mazer right across the middle. But I believe Copperas Cove has better linebackers than Marshall had. 4th down and 13. Alves in the gun as if they're going to go for it. 2 receivers left, and somebody jumps, and it's a quick kick, and Alves boots it. It's going to land about the 5 and come backwards, and going to be right at the 5-yard line. A nice punt. No flags. Someone moved a little early, but the officials didn't see it.
Well, and it also depends where they might have moved. You know, if you're not in the neutral zone. And again, it's a tough. They've officiated a fairly fair game, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
And 42 yards on the quick kick, and again, right here, the defense has to make a stop. They've got Cove pinned deep at their own 5-yard line. Hey, a safety would be nice on one of those option plays right now.
And I got to tell you, at the interception, you almost feel like that's a wasted opportunity because you're not going to get many more of those.
Well, Copperas Cove starts deeper than they have at any point tonight at their own 5-yard line. Full house backfield, same formation that McKinney Boyd runs when they're in full house. And Griffin's going to hand off up the middle, and that's Vital. Bounces out of a tackle. Look out. 15 to the 20 to the 25-30. Dancing and down at the 42-yard line. Vital cannot be stopped tonight. Philip Sears on the tackle for McKinney Boyd. And the young man just keeps running and keeps running and keeps running.
Now up to 285 yards rushing on 13 carries. Last week had 179 on 13 carries.
Gosh. And this is where they say speed kills because, you know, he's not really an elusive runner from the terms of moves, but he's elusive because you can't catch him.
Very fast. I formation. Griffin goes under center. So much for the great field position as Copperas Cove up to the 41-yard line. Handoff, Vital, right up the middle. And for once, Boyd stops him for a little gain. Justin Cordova was right there. It will be a 4-yard gain to the 44-yard line. 9:56 left to go in the game. McKinney Boyd trailing 34-20.
And the one thing to point out about Vital, not only is he big, and not only is he fast, but he's big. He's hard to bring down. 6 foot, 190 pounds.
And the thing, you combine that with his quickness, and I mean, there's a reason he's a good football player. You know, let's leave it at that.
2nd down and 7 for Copperas Cove, moving right to left. Griffin under center now. And he's going to hand off Vital, running left tackle, a big hole, and knocked down shy of midfield by Sieber. Jacob Sigler, actually. And we'll check down with John Leidy down on the sidelines. John, what do you got for us?
Yes, I have an injury update here on the sidelines. On that previous punt, Montarius Pittman went down with a right knee injury, and he's actually going to be out for the remaining of the game. So look for Joseph Robinson and Darian Alves and a little bit of A.J. Jones to carry the remaining for the offense. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot, John Leidy. 3rd down and short here, 3rd and 1 from the 49-yard line. And Griffin's going to run the sneak over left guard, and he's got it into the Boyd side of the field at the 49-yard line. So from 149 to the other before Justin Cordova brings him down. It'll be a new set of downs for Copperas Cove with 8:52 left to go in the game.
Well, and something they haven't done prior to about halfway through the 3rd quarter is just put together a drive because it's been so explosive in what they've done. And now what they're doing, you know, beginning in the halfway through the 3rd quarter and on this drive, putting it together. I mean, they're running. I mean, that was a 3rd down conversion.
Well, an eating clock. I mean, their longest drive of the night was a little over 2 minutes. This drive already at the 2-minute mark.
After the interception, they've run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. And in shotgun, here's Griffin. Handoff once again. That's Vital right at the middle. Spins out of a tackle and brought down by Justin Cordova. And now a late flag comes in at the 45-yard line. That thrown up in the air like a personal foul.
Yeah, unsportsmanlike right in that range. It's going to be interesting to see who it's on.
On Boyd.
Of course.
Vital now over 300 yards rushing, 302 on 18 carries, and, of course, the 3 scores as well.
Copperas Cove went to the big dance last year, and we see why. They were a very good football team.
Well, and you know, you look at last week's game, 55 points. I don't care who you're playing. I mean, that's just a mammoth of an output in terms of your offense. And we get a first-hand look. They're not going to do 55 today, but, man, it just seems like they can do almost whatever they want. And then on top of that, you give them 15 yards on a penalty. Man.
Three receivers left side. And Griffin under center, Vital in the backfield. Really tight. Vital's really close to the line, maybe a yard off the guard.
Yeah, this is odd.
And Griffin goes under center. Looks like they're going to run to the left. And they fake the swing pass, throwing it down the field and incomplete at about the 2-yard line, out of bounds. Josh Boyce just took off sprinting down the left side. Lamar Peoples was in coverage. They were trying to pretty much close out this football game with that play.
Well, at this point, all you have to do is run down the clock. You know, right now, Boyd's been able to move the ball in chunks. They haven't been able to do a big, long gain. I don't think they've got a 30-yard or more run. So at this point, you just need to turn down the clock.
I formation, Griffin under center. And tight end to the left, 2 receivers either side. Handoff, Vital, up the middle, big hole once again to the 15, to the 10, in the end zone. Touchdown, Copperas Cove. 40-20 now with 8:07 left to go in the game, awaiting the PAT.
Well, and right there again, you saw Vital running right up the middle for his 4th touchdown of the contest. And you got to give it up front to that big offensive line that features Sean Robertson and Nathan Kepler. He ran on the left side of the line. It sprung open a hole, and it opened like the Red Sea. There was no defenders in front of him.
Yeah, and if you go back to their first playoff game, they beat Waxahachie 37-35. The way the defense is playing, you wonder how they scored 35. The way the offense is playing, you wonder how they only got 37.
Oh, well, PAT is good. 41-20 with 8:07 left to go in the game. Copperas Cove in the lead. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium here in Waco at Baylor. And newly appointed Baylor head coach Art Briles has 2 young men, recruited 2 young men to Houston. The quarterback and the running back here from Copperas Cove. He may try to lure him over here to Baylor now. Ruel's kick is going to be a high, deep kick. 9 yards deep in the end zone, goes out of bounds, touchback. For McKinney Boyd, they'll have it 1st and 10 from their own 20, moving left to right with 8:07 left to go in the game. How about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap, Jay?
95 yards covered on 7 plays, 2 minutes and 29 seconds, capped off by a 26-yard Troy Vital touchdown run, his 4th of the night. He scored from 57, 18, 69, and now 26.
Let's check down on the field with John Leidy after this play. We'll see what John's got for us here in just 1 second. 1st and 10, moving left.
Well, not yet, John.
Moving left to right, and now a nice run there up to the 31-yard line. It'll be a first down as Tanner Brock makes the stop.
Now let's go back down to John.
John will try this once again.
Guys, the tempers are flaring here, and as you can hear the crowd behind me, there's a couple boos coming from the crowd over some of the penalties that may or may not have been called. Back up to y'all.
All right, thank you very much, John. First down and 10 after the run, and Alv's going to run left side, this time to the 35, up to the 40, and pushes his way out.
Oh, come on.
To the
There we go.
47-yard line, and now a late hit out of bounds. You hear Brandon a little upset. Chris Miller, the cornerback, got a little
late.
Yeah.
Well, and as John made mention to, there was kind of some late hits, and it was a little bit more questionable than the last one, and that's what John made reference to, and that's what the crowd was booing. But, you know, the whistles blows, and granted, you had the hold of the guy while he was inbounds, but once you step out of bounds, you stop. And he didn't stop, took 2 steps, and brings, I mean, it was almost a violent bring down of Darren Alves. And, man, you know, and one thing, I'm a big fan of sportsmanship. And, you know, you've got a big lead. There's no reason to do that. There's just no reason to do that.
Well, they will mark the ball off inside the 40 of Copperas Cove territory now. Well, now they move it back to the 40.
And, you know, there's still 8 minutes left.
7:47 to be exact. 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd at the Copperas Cove 40-yard line. Alves in the gun. Mazer in motion. Stands to his left. Alves runs to the left, now cuts it up to the middle, and has another first down, being slung down by the small jersey to the 26-yard line. Another first down, and a host of Copperas Cove Bulldogs, including Ryan Landry on the stop. And Alves, again, remember he went back to that small jersey because the number 8 jersey was too big.
Yeah.
So 19 was a little bit smaller. That's what he's been wearing ever since week 9. But he was still slung down by that jersey there. And Alves wants to run the quarterback draw, cuts it out right side to the 25, flag down, 20, up to the 15, and steps out of bounds at the 14-yard line before taking a big hit. That's going to be a hold, and they're going to bring it back.
Yeah, and, for the past 2 plays, you've seen Cameron Macer go into the backfield, Monty. We all know what that means. It's going to be a Darren Alves run. And at this point in the game, I think it's got to be Darren Alves. I mean, he's gotten you, for the most part on your offense, he's gotten you this far. And if you're going to climb back into this game, you almost have to go to your superstar.
Alves tonight, 33 carries for 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, but did have the fumble early on his 13th carry.
And we talked about, with the great time of possession advantage that Boyd have, that at some point you'd think this Cove defense would start to wear down. Scoreboard hasn't reflected that. They've been able to move the ball, but at the same time, when you keep your defense on the field, you're going to keep your offense fresh too.
And part of it's that Cove defense, though. They've got so many interchangeable parts that they're staying fresh.
True that.
Alves has been over 193 yards in a game 9 times this season.
Good Lord.
Schmidt comes in motion, stands to the left. Alves throws it all the way across the field to Fuller, who makes the catch. And coming up the field to the 29-yard line.
Catch is made by number 9.
And
Jeff Fuller.
That'll bring up second down.
Brian Landrum again on the tackle there, Monty. And, at this point, you almost think you're going to see a little bit more passing. And that play was designed on Fuller missing one person on the play. But, again, there's so much pursuit on this Cove defense that makes it really tough.
Another penalty, this one coming before the snap. We'll back it up 5 more yards against Boyd. The ball was at the 29-yard line. It was second down and 13. So it'll now be second down and 18.
Let me tell you, your plate's full enough as it is. You can't be giving up penalties. First a hold, now and false start. It's second and 18, and you've gotten 15 yards in penalties on this series.
Mazer in motion. Alves in the gun. Alves runs left. Big hole. Spins out of a tackle. Spins out of another one. Fights his way back to the 29-yard line where he was a moment ago. And again, it's Ryan Landrum on the stop for Copperas Cove. 6:16 left to go in the game, and Copperas Cove leading by 3 touchdowns, 41-20.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you talked about, Jay. You talked about this interchangeable part. Ryan Landrum, a guy we haven't called much at all, but here he is in the fourth quarter, fresh and making tackles. And he's being just as good as the guy he replaced.
2 receivers either side for Alves in the gun. And he takes a step up and then throws the home run ball down the side for Fuller. And some pushing and fighting going on. It falls incomplete right at the goal line. And that far front corner, Chris Miller, the man in coverage, and makes the play there to knock the ball down.
Really good coverage by Miller. I mean, he was in front of Fuller, and Fuller just couldn't out-jump him.
Yeah, looking at the replay here, they were both, there was nothing overt on either side. There was some covert pushing and shoving. And you know what? I like that non-call. And bottom line is Fuller had a chance and didn't make it.
Bottom line is here. You got to go for it. It's 4th and 13 for McKinney Boyd. Copperas Cove fans come to their feet. Again, we're on the near side. On the home side, Copperas Cove is the home team. So you hear their fans very loud. On 4th and 13 for McKinney Boyd. Alves in the gun. And they stop play before it can get underway. Alves almost took a hit, even though the whistles had blown.
Yeah, he was just standing there, and the saving grace, and I believe it was Stephen Welch who made the hit. The saving grace for him was he backed off just a little bit when he saw him standing there, but still, that was a pop.
Timeout has been called. We'll take 1, 2. 41-20. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Floyd Casey Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the gang. 5:52 left to go in the game. 41-20. Copperas Cove in the lead. It's 4th down and 13. This is your ball game for McKinney Boyd. Down 3 touchdowns. Need a first down here. Owls flushed out, rolling out and brought down at the 32-yard line. And the ball will go over to Copperas Cove. Anthony Gonzalez brings Owls down for about the 6th time tonight in the backfield.
Well, and that's exactly – we talk about how good this Cove defense is. Again, that's a play we've seen Darren do many a time. Lots of open field, and you think, here we go, big run. And all of a sudden there's a blue jersey there. I mean, you don't get to the state finals for by luck. I mean, you have to beat good teams.
We were talking during the break that once you get to this round, there are no daisies. And Copperas Cove is a very good football team.
Well, if there's any opposite of a daisy in the playoffs, I shudder to think who it might be if it's not Copperas Cove.
Griffin goes under center for Copperas Cove, who now has the ball moving right to left from their own 32. Griffin is going to hand off to the right side, another big hole, a new running back into the game, and a 9-yard gain for the running back.
Brandon Bird.
It is Brandon Bird on his first carry of the night. Same result.
Big play.
Bird came in late last week with a few plays, picking up a little over 20 yards on 4 carries, and look for him to do the cleanup work here as we near the 5-minute mark.
Bird, number 28, was brought down by number 28, Ryan Garrett, for McKinney Boyd. I formation as they're in kill the clock mode. Griffin is going to keep it. And there was some movement up front, and now the whistle will blow.
Had to be a flag of some kind.
But something was happening up front, whether offensively or defensively.
Yeah. I'm not even sure which it's on. My guess it's going to be offense because it looked like everybody moved about at the same time. And the referees agree with me, so my percentages on predicting the penalty is still pretty high.
Copperas Cove really upset because they're calling it against Copperas Cove. The coaches are really, really upset here.
You're up by 21.
Between the two teams, they had 4 penalties in the first half. Here in the second half, they've combined for 8 penalties, equal, though, 6 penalties apiece at this point in the game. And with this one going against Cove, it'll be their 7th.
Again, talking about Copperas Cove, you can't say enough about Jack Welch, what he's done there with this program. Before he got there, the Bulldogs had a combined 4-26 record the previous 3 years and had a history of losing. And since 1998, under Jack Welch, they're 87-20.
Wow.
Including 13-1 2 years ago, and last year's state final dance. Here's a handoff up the middle, and that's Burr again, and he escapes the defender, stumbles his way up to the 50-yard line. Jacob Sigler, the senior, on the tackle, probably one of his last tackles of his career, with 4:34 left to go in this game.
Yeah, and to kind of expand on your Jack Welch point there, Monty, sometimes you'll see a lot of guys take over a bad program, and you see a lot of people say, well, good luck there. Well, that's why they do it, because I tell you, Jack's probably happy with what he's done because he's taken his team that was down and built it to a winner.
As far as Central Texas top 10 salaries, he's number 1 also, with $101,271 per year. How about that? Handoff up the middle, another big hole. And this is Burr to the 25, spinning down to the 20, down to the 15, inside the 15 to the 14. Parker Bolinas brings him down. And I tell you what, interchangeable parts it may be. Brandon Bird, a huge run down to the 9-yard line.
And Bird, just a sophomore, so talk about being stacked. He will be back next year, and he is already putting up the numbers here. That right there, a big 36-yard run right now, setting at 59 yards rushing on the game.
Well, and your running back's only half the equation. That was a huge hole set up by that offensive line. I mean, this offensive line is arguably the best offensive line we've seen all year on K-Lake.
They graduate all of their 2 deep except their starting right guard.
Wow.
Handoff. Bird, left tackle, and he'll make his way to the 11-yard line.
Actually, William Wright on the
that
carry.
was right. And Justin Cordova brings him down. Talk about returning starters for Copperas Cove being pretty impressive. Let's talk about McKinney Boyd. Obviously, you have the pinball wizard coming back. He's only a sophomore. He'll be a junior next year. Joseph Robinson will be back. Obviously, you graduate Jeff Fuller. Montarius Pittman, who went out with a knee injury tonight, will be back next year. Grant Gibson, the wideout on the right side, who really don't hear from a lot in this offense, but he'll be back next year. Here's a handoff to Bird up the middle, or actually to the right side, and up the right hash to the 5-yard line. Parker Bolinas again on the stop. Again, Parker Bolinas will be coming back next year.
Well, and I can tell you, that's a guy you can build your secondary around right there. That's a solid open field tackle.
Two of the most important guys on this team are coming back next year, that being Darren Alves and Cameron Mazer. Mazer, the tight end on offense, the linebacker on defense, and he plays everything else. I really believe those two guys are the keys to this football team in 2008. I formation, Griffin's going to hand off left guard to Bird, who fights his way to the 1-yard line and down right there. And it'll be 4th and goal.
And if you look at, returning him.
Actually, a first down, so it'll be 1st and goal from the 1.
Wow. Well, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? And you talk about Parker coming back. Hey, his counterpart on the other side, Lamar Peoples, will be returning as well. He's just a junior. The 2 safeties will be going, and those are some good safeties.
The good thing about, I guess if there is a good thing about going 0-10 last year is they played a lot of sophomores. Handoff up the middle. Copperas Cove's Bird goes into the end zone again. And now you're going to wake up tomorrow, read the paper, and it's going to look like a rout as it's 47-20 awaiting the PAT with 2:06 left to go. But it's not been that way, especially the first half and the early part of the third quarter. But Copperas Cove had too much in this football game, too much depth and too much speed. And Roel will come on for the PAT.
Yeah, that 5-letter word says it right there, and that's something kind of a shame that I haven't said. I mean, that depth. I mean, that's incredible. Their second string would be a playoff if it was at another school.
Roel's kick's very high. It's up and good. And he could kick for Texas Tech right now. 48-20, 2:06 left to go in the game. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. 2 minutes and 6 seconds left to go in this game, and Copperas Cove leads 48-20 over McKinney Boyd. Less cowbells.
Right there with you.
Roel will do the kicking here while we do this. How about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
7 plays, 68 yards. Longest drive time-wise of the night for Copperas Cove. 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Capped off by a 2-yard Brandon Bird touchdown run.
Bird accounted for 71 of those yards on the drive. Here's the kickoff going to be taken by Robinson up the right hash. Goes left side all the way across the far sideline and down at the 18-yard line. $1:59 left to go in the game. It'll be 1st and 10 for Boyd from their own 18. And talking about the defense, we talked a little bit about the offense and who's coming back. And that would be also William Smalley, the sophomore left tackle, and Michael Tharby, the left guard, and the right guard, Brenton Liggins, and the right tackle, Brent White. Basically the entire offense coming back next year.
Yeah, the center, Rusty Walton, great center, by the way. He will be missed, but the offensive line has been fantastic this entire year.
The Chicago boy, Rusty Walton, the center, will be graduating. Handoff up the middle, and I believe that's Robinson up to the 20-yard line. That may have been A.J. Jones, actually.
And the loss of Walton will be huge. He is kind of the quarterback that isn't the quarterback on that offensive line. He's got 3 jobs. He calls out the blocking schemes prior to the play. He's kind of the Peyton Manning of the offensive line and has been throughout this entire season.
Just a quick question: who put together the depth charts this week? Was it Jay?
Yeah.
All right, I got a point after this.
Here's Alves, and he'll run up the middle, drug down by his shirt, 2-yard gain. Whistles will blow.
Well, if you look at the depth chart, senior Cameron Mazer on the linebacking crew will not return, but junior Cameron Mazer at the tight end will be back next year. Now, he's a junior, though, but you talk two starters on this tremendous offense will be graduating. Think about that. Yeah. I mean, how good this offense will be, and 2 are leaving.
Well, and also you got to think about this team going up to 5A. So
that's true.
Not only will they be getting stronger, but they'll also have to be going up against stronger competition as well. And this is 3rd down and 6. Alves in trouble behind the line of scrimmage, and he's being chased down.
Oh.
Spins out of a couple of tackles. Oh, my goodness, down the sideline through the 30. Spinning out to the 35-40. Another great run by Darren Alves, a patented Tony Dorsett run.
Did he just do a reverse spin?
Up to the 42-yard line. Denedric Hudgens, the cornerback, finally brought him down, but he was the 11th man to try.
I'm still, my socks are back behind me. Here's the replay. I swear he did a reverse spin. Yep.
Somehow my socks got on the elevator and went down to floor number 1.
So he comes to me on a spin move and then immediately goes back the other way, and the linebacker literally, I swear he almost broke his ankle.
28 seconds on the clock. Alves running left tackle. Another big hole to the 50, to the 45-40. Down the left sideline, out of bounds at the 32-yard line. 18 seconds. Clock will stop as we go out of bounds here.
Yeah, and there's one thing on the D. Well, we're talking about who's coming back and who's not. Here's the guy who's been a fairly solid linebacker. Zach Adamchick's coming back next year too. So 2 really good linebackers.
224 yards rushing now for Alves as he eclipsed the 200-yard mark with 38 carries on the night.
That's a workhorse for you.
7th time he's gone over the 200-yard mark this year. Alves, handoff, right side. Joseph Robinson cuts it up. That's A.J. Jones to the 15, down to the 11-yard line. 11 seconds, 10 seconds. And will they call a timeout? They're trying to get in the end zone here.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Hey, the other side did it, and you want to make the score at least somewhat more respectable.
Denedric Hudgens again on the tackle.
Well, and finish the year knowing you won a battle, the last battle.
And A.J. Jones, by the way, a senior.
1st and 10 as the clock will start again here. 8 seconds. Is this the last play of the season? The fade route in the end zone for Jeff Fuller, going up and coming down. It's touchdown time in Texas. And there's 1 second left on the clock. It's been a miracle season. This team has never given up all year long. And that shows you the character of this football team.
Monty, 2 minutes left. You're down. Let's do some quick math. 28 points. I mean, if that isn't a time to give up and they still come back and score a touchdown, well, this is just a determined, gritty bunch.
Yarborough for the extra point with 1 second on the clock. Low snap. Sieber digs it out. Yarborough has it, and he's in trouble, and he goes down at the 14-yard line. So there'll have to be a kickoff here because there's 1 second left.
Aim squarely for one of the 5 front guys.
48-26. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Hey, why not? 1 second left. 1 second left in this miraculous season that McKinney Boyd has had. From 0-10 to watch us win, they go to 9-4 on the year from 0-10. And how about Don Drake? I mean, what a job he has done with this football team. Here's the kick. It's a high kick. It's going to be taken at the 14-yard line. And Griffin takes it, and he takes a knee, and that's the football game.
Classy.
48-26, the final score tonight here at Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco. And both teams coming out on the field. What a classic effort by McKinney Boyd. They just ran into a very, very, very good football team. And that football team from Copperas Cove knows about McKinney Boyd now.
Well, yeah, and you know what? A lot of the Metroplex knows about him too, because we've all saw the preseason polls. This is supposed to be your last place team in District 9-4A, and you know what? Plain fact of the matter is they weren't. And also, you have to think after week 1 of the playoffs, they're also the last 9-4A team to still be playing in the playoffs, and then they ended up winning another game. And you know what? This game was really competitive.
We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll have some time for Jay to get the stats done. We'll get some highlights done. We'll have time for John Lighty to round up Don Drake and maybe some other players. Back in a moment. 48-26, the final tonight. Copperas Cove over McKinney Boyd. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, we haven't had to sing the blues a whole lot this year, especially for McKinney Boyd. 9-4 on the year. A tremendous turnaround from 0-10 in 2006 to 9-4 in 2007. And Coach Don Drake having a long talk with his team down there, obviously telling them that they showed a lot of character over the past year, not only tonight, but over the past several weeks. Just their backs were against the wall when they were playing Little Elm. and the Colony and those guys.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad you brought that up. You remember, what was it, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks left in the season? We think we may not even have a chance to do a playoff game at all this year. And, going back to what Tom Crow said and what we've talked about, they did not quit.
They do not quit. They have not quit all year. And unfortunately, they are forced to tonight by a very good football team, Copperas Cove 48-26. But even in that, they never quit in this football game. Evidence, Jeff Fuller, a touchdown with 1 second left to go in the game.
And that's exactly what we reference. And you could even go down to the Seaber chasing down on a blocked extra point, making a tackle. But, Monty, let's go, yeah.
Guys, I don't know that that's ever been done by a team coming from what we came from last year. It's a credit to you. I am so proud to be your coach. You've done a great job. Guys, I don't know what else I can say. Okay? It's been an amazing run. I know it hurts. And you know what? It should hurt. Okay? It should hurt. But you guys are going to be, you seniors, you're going to be successful because you keep fighting. Because you know what it takes. I'm so proud of you guys. And you underclassmen, you know what it takes to get to this point. Okay? Not much more to say. Okay? I'm proud of you. All right? Very proud. Very proud of the way you represent our program and our schools and our community. Okay? We'll get up and go right over here to the band and play the song. All right? And we'll take it back to the line.
Well, Coach Drake talking to his team right there and basically saying, I don't know that this has ever been done. Telling his team, and you hear the crowd.
Wow.
And you hear, actually, that's the Boyd crowd cheering for McKinney Boyd Broncos.
And they're absolutely right in cheering for those guys. And you know what, Monty? That's got to be one of the best post-game speeches that I've heard, both as a player and as we've been doing this. Because you know what? He's exactly right. They have nothing to be ashamed about. You know what? I honestly believe it when he says the seniors who are graduating, they're going to take this and put it into the real life. This is just not a quit bunch.
Yep, and here's the presentation of the trophy. Well, actually, it's the PA guy telling us to take a safe trip home, I guess. But
all right, we'll do so.
As soon as we have the school song, we'll have some of the players for McKinney Boyd with John Lighty down on the sideline. But he's right. He said, you know what, this may have never happened. McKinney Boyd coming from 0-10 all the way to the quarterfinals.
Well,
may have never happened in the history of Texas high school football.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to echo his sentiments. He said it's been an honor to coach those guys. You know what? And this may sound cheesy, but it really, I mean it. It's really been an honor to watch these guys play. I mean, this is some of the best football. And I almost feel like I'm going to cry here, and I've never done that in the broadcast. But seriously, I think this is some of the best football, not because of X's and O's, but because these guys put their emotions on their sleeve and almost willed their way to this point.
Well, you never it's fun to see a team that never, ever gives up. And it's one of those special things that you see. The teams come and go. There are really good teams that are brash, and you get to watch it. And those are fun. The Highland Park teams, they know they're going to win, and those are fun. But it's fun to see the gritty, smaller teams come up and punch some people in the mouth, and that's what McKinney Boyd's done all year.
And you know what? To really echo those same sentiments. You look at Copperas Cove. Copperas Cove is like a Highland Park. Give me Boyd.
A lot of sad players down on the field, and I believe John Lighty is ready to go.
I'm down here with the McKinney Boyd head coach, Coach Don Drake. He's down here with his wife and his children at the moment, and let them finish. Coach, I'm sorry that your season had to end like this, but you got to be glad it's a season of a lot of firsts.
I can't say enough about what these kids have been able to accomplish this year. I don't think anybody that you could have asked when we started this football season would thought we'd be in our season here today in the state quarterfinal round. And it's a credit to those kids. It's a credit to the work they've put in and just the belief that they've had and the confidence that they've had to go out and compete every week. And I'm really proud of them.
And I was speaking on the season being a lot of firsts. Can you elaborate on a lot of those first-time experiences for your program?
Oh, yeah, the first win in the history of the school, the first district win, making the playoffs, and then getting a win in the playoffs, and then winning a second win in the playoffs, and getting to the state quarterfinals, coming off 0-10. I mean, what else I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. I don't know that that's ever been done. I've never heard of that. I've never once heard of a team being able to accomplish what these guys have been able to accomplish this season.
And can you fill us in on little information that you've learned from your program that being able to establish the program in the second year like this, coming off of the 0-10 season last year, and something to build on for next year?
As it all goes back to belief, okay? You know, and you can't put parameters on kids and what they can do. You've got to set the expectation. You've got to put it out there, tell them what it's going to take to get it done, and you got to try to hold them to that expectation. And the belief that these kids had that they could walk out on the field every week and compete has been tremendous, and they've done it. And they've beaten some good football teams, and they competed against a good football team tonight. And, you know, I mean, that's what it is. It's about believing and having that confidence and playing with toughness and playing with great effort.
And one last thing, do you have a message for your seniors that are graduating this year?
Yeah, I love them, and the tradition that they've started here, again, has been remarkable, and the bar that they've set for the kids that play behind them. I mean, look what they got to shoot for now. You know, I mean, it's way up there, and for those kids to be able to see them and see what they've been helping us accomplish is nothing short of amazing.
Well, I'm going to say congratulations on a great season, being able to do this in the second season, make the playoffs and everything. Sorry it had to end, but good luck in the offseason and get to work. Thank you.
All right.
And I'm also going to try to gather a couple of the seniors and one of the underclassmen to ask them a couple questions real quick.
All right. You know, and that I kind of gave you a look.
I'm down here with Reese Redmond, who is a senior this year. You've just been a leader on this defense, and that's been a strong point all year long compared to the past year with going 0-10.
Well, yeah. You know, after last year, I knew we had a bunch of guys. We had the talent. We had the fight in us. We didn't know how to bring it out onto the field, and we had a great offseason. I love every one of those guys like a brother, you know. We came out here. We played like a team. We'd fly to the ball. It was so much different. It was so much better. I'm so glad I got to play with them.
And something else, you were a teacher to this gentleman who's standing to your right here, Keith Owens, and I'm going to get to him in just 1 second when I'm finished with you. But I have to say congratulations on a great senior season. Good luck in the future, whatever that may be, okay? Now I'm going to move on to number 94, Keith Owens, who is a sophomore this year, correct? Okay. And something, I want you to elaborate on what you've learned from your senior defensive lineman, Justin Cordova and Reese Redmond.
Man, I couldn't have done it without those guys. Them and Glenn Schumann taught me everything I know. I moved from linebacker at freshman team last year, the end, which I hadn't played since 7th grade. So they taught me the whole position over again. Without them, I wouldn't have played at all this year. So I really appreciate what they've done for me.
Okay, we'll be looking for your smiling face back the next 2 years. Do you have a special message you'd like to send to your senior teammates?
Man, I'm just going to miss them more than anything, man. It's going to be a hard offseason.
Thank you, and good luck and get to work in the offseason. I'm also down here with some other seniors. I got Jacob Sigler, who we tried to get last week, and we're going to get him this week. He's made some great contributions, especially in the playoffs here. Okay. And can you elaborate on picking up the defense?
Yeah, we've been doing good all year, and we made such a huge improvement from last year. It just feels great to do what we did. And tonight was rough, but we're going to keep on fighting.
And do you have a message that you want to leave for the underclassmen that you've trained?
Man, they have all the potential in the world. I know in the next years they're going to be able to take it all the way. I'm just going to be in the stands, encourage them every chance I get, and I wish them luck.
And have you made any decisions on your future?
I would just like to go to A&M. There's probably no football in my future, but I'll definitely be a fan.
So we'll look forward to seeing you back in town for homecoming next year. You have a great year and great future.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also trying to get Jeff Fuller, and as tall as he is, he's actually escaped me. He just went in. Well, I'm going to see if I can track him down because I have a special question for him.
All right, there's Jeff Fuller. That's John Lighty trying to track down Jeff Fuller.
You know, I actually like what John did there, grabbing the sophomore like he did. Hey, what'd you learn from this guy? And hey, what'd you teach this guy? And that's kind of a cool thing. And you know, you really have to think about it that way as a senior. You know, it's not a lot of. We've been there. You know, it's not a lot of fun ending your season because unless you win a state championship, if you have a successful year, make the playoffs, your season's ending on a loss. But at the same time, I mean, that's a great way to look at. Hey, look what I'm teaching you.
You know, I was fortunate to end my 3 varsity years in the playoffs each year. And that sometimes is more difficult than knowing that you lose your last game or you win your last game and you're not in the playoffs. being in the playoffs makes it even more special and even more hard to take off that helmet for the last time.
You look at McKinney Lions. You know, they ended their season with a win. They would love to have ended their season here today. You know, and that's how you have to look at it. And you know, I mean, they're building to the future. This team's obviously, I mean, they've got a great head start for that future.
Well, we're going to take a timeout. We're going to probably not be able to have John Leidy track down Jeff Fuller, but we're going to take a timeout and try to catch up on some of these great sponsors. Again, final score tonight, 48-26. Copperas Cove beats McKinney Boyd. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.